Top national stories this hour. 9 people are dead, dozens are trapped in quarries, and buildings were damaged in the strongest earthquake in a quarter century in Taiwan. The quake was about 100 miles away from the capital of Taipei. 934 people were injured. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 80 points right now. That's 0.2%. We're at 39,250. Lots of sunshine today and warmer temperatures. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time is 9:02.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Well, hello, it's me again. And like me, I'll bet you're ready for spring and a little green lawn again. I've got a tip. Don't spend a fortune hiring a lawn care company. Save some money and do it yourself. And here's how. Go to J&J Garden Center in Layton and purchase their simple, color-coded 5-step fertilizer system that covers up to 10,000 square feet and will rejuvenate your lawn for just $199.98. And nobody beats J&J's price. So for a lush, healthy green lawn, come and try J&J Garden Center's 5-step fertilizer system. I promise you won't regret it. Take the Layton Parkway exit, Main Street to Gentile, then west 2 miles. You've got to see it to believe it. You really do.
Country grown to your home, J&J Garden Center.
Hey, Steve, have you noticed your utility bills? Mine have almost doubled.
Yeah. Trust me and call Brad at Gillette Heating and Air Conditioning. He got me not just a better system, but a carrier for about half the price of the big HVAC companies. You know, these super high energy systems can save thousands on utilities, and Brad showed me how to get almost $5,000 in utility and government rebates.
You have their number?
385-GET-HEAT. I even heard that if you get a system before the end of the month, they'll throw in a free water heater.
385-GET-HEAT.
Yep.
Got it.
Or head to GilletteServices.com.
Hi, Doug Wright here with one more little experiment you can do at home. In a pan of water, all you have to do is stir in limestone, calcium, magnesium particles, and then heat that whole mess up on the stove. And you know what, on second thought, not such a good idea, because limestone, calcium, and magnesium particles heated in water will clump and stick to your pan like concrete, which incidentally is exactly what's going on inside your water heater. Think about it, limestone, calcium, magnesium, that's what makes hard water hard. And trust me on this, if you live in northern Utah, your home has hard water. So call Connecticut of Utah. I'll give you the number in a moment. They'll test your water's hardness for free, and they'll show you the patented design features that make Connecticut water softeners work better than any other. Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. To learn more, call Connecticut. It's 801-576-8600 or log on to softwaterutah.com. And call now while it's on your mind.
A happy place comes in many colors. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters, that's painting happy. During our spring sales event, special offers are available through April 30th. Schedule your home painting project today and bring happiness home. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
It already feels like home.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here is Michelle Rowe.
Well, we have minor delays, Amanda. This is northbound I-15 approaching 5600 South and Roy. Other than that, I-15 quiet from Ogden to Provo. Is it winter? Is it spring? Who cares? Come explore Logan. Baby Animals Days Festival is happening now through April 6th. Mountain Man Rendezvous, live performances, skiing, snowmobiling, and more. ExploreLogan.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Right now, it is 48 degrees downtown. It's going to be up to 70 for a high today, 73 tomorrow. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Just absolutely mesmerized, Dave, by all of the video out of Taiwan and that 7.4 magnitude earthquake. The one that really stood out to me, and there's all kinds of chaos going on there, But all of those cars on a bridge, and this bridge just starts rocking back and forth. And you can see it in the dash cam video. And you can feel it. I was actually watching this video, and I was getting dizzy watching it. And I know in about 45 minutes, we're going to speak with Be Ready Utah, because I've always wondered, what do you do if you're in a car when the big one hits?
There were so many compelling images. You could see these buildings, apartment buildings, that looked like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. They were sitting at a 30 or 40 degree angle. One of the most wild videos I saw was a man in a swimming pool. It looked like he was in the middle of an ocean of just waves going back and forth. It's 9:06. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Well, there's been so much talk around Major League Baseball coming to Utah. But I wonder now if Utah is just out of luck with what's been billed as the appetizer. You know, hosting the Oakland A's in a temporary home until their stadium is finished in Las Vegas. Was this bad news for South Jordan? Seems the A's may be flirting with the city of Sacramento.
And it's not just bad for us in South Jordan being the temporary home, but now the A's are flirting with Sacramento, who wants to steal the A's away from Las Vegas. All of this matters because if Las Vegas doesn't get a baseball team, we don't get a baseball team. Our chances vanish up in smoke, in my opinion, if the A's go anywhere else than Las Vegas.
Countdown. 2.
The Jazz are terrible right now.
They're so bad.
They've lost 10 in a row. But the real drama came last night when a fan thought he'd won a brand new car in a 3-point shootout contest. I love watching those contests. But then, wah, 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 this happened.
Malik, here's the deal. We talked to the judges. Yep. It was after the buzzer. It was very blatant. It was after the buzzer.
Ooh. They were booing that the fans were more invested in this 3-point shootout than they were in the game. By far. Booing, crying, devastated. So this is what happened. He had to hit 3 NBA 3-pointers in 30 seconds. He hit 2, and then as time was winding down, he hits a third one.
Who is this guy?
He had a pretty good shot. I'll be honest.
Can we draft him?
The Jazz could have signed him for sure. Like, he had a pretty good shot, but it looked like he had hit that third shot after time had run out. So they said, "No, you don't get it." Well, instant replay shows he actually hit it in time, though they already said he beat the buzzer, but they'd already said you didn't win. Oh, and we'll call it Cargate at the Jazz game.
Launch countdown. 1.
This one is for the American worker. American workers are just fed up with bosses contacting them after hours. It's obvious when asked in surveys, most of us say we think it should be illegal, not just off limits, but downright against the law for the office to contact us after work hours. Done is done. We're home with our family. We got stuff to do. Well, now California, poised to be the first state in the nation to side with workers and make it illegal.
Remote work has made this so bad because you just don't know when to turn off, when to stop working. And it feels like bosses feel like because they pay you that they're entitled to text you, email you, and that if you don't respond at 7 p.m. at night, clearly after you've gone home, then you're a bad employee. But is that just a bad practice, bad business, or should it be criminal? This is the next step. Criminal? I don't know.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
No, I don't want bosses thrown in jail over this, but come on. This is called the Right to Disconnect Act. It hasn't passed yet in California. It's specific to California, but the wheels are certainly in motion to cut the 24/7 chain that many workers are tethered to because bosses don't stop pinging them after hours, whether that's by phone call, email, or text.
There is something to be said about being able to finish your workday, to literally walk out the doors and not think about it till the next day. How many of us can say we do that? I don't. I'm terrible at it. I mean, it'll be all times of the day. I'm looking at my phone, checking the news, sending in texts. I'm terrible at this. It's not just a boss thing. This is a Dave Noriega thing as well.
I feel like we're pressured, though. We feel this sense of pressure that if the boss gets a hold of us, we better be available, be ready to respond ASAP. I have these sinking feelings I feel when I'm like, oh my goodness, I was in the dental chair with my mouth wide open and not able to see my phone. And there's been a text message there. You know, am I going to be in trouble? Yeah, it's just been rotting here for a whole 10 minutes. So let's get with ABC's Alex Stone. He's going to give us the lowdown on the Right to Disconnect Act that's now being proposed in California. And then let's talk it out. Let's look at the data and see how American workers are feeling. How burnt out we are over this.
It's called the Right to Disconnect, a new bill that would give employees a legal right to ignore calls and text messages from employers after work hours. The bill would mandate that employers clearly outline normal working hours and guarantee uninterrupted personal and family time outside of those hours. It would apply to all public and private employers. Exceptions would include emergencies and scheduling calls. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
I see no downside to this. I love the idea that we can't be blamed, we can't be criticized. If we just say, you know what, my workday is over.
I don't think we'd be talking about this if bosses hadn't long ago jumped the shark. What I mean is take advantage of technology, you know, the invention of email and text messages, and we all have phones now. Back in the day, it was merely a pager. I had a pager that sat on my hip, and when the bosses wanted to get a hold of me, a speaker would sound. And if I was in the grocery store line, everybody heard this speaker voice. Somebody could come out of a speaker box on my belt loop and announce what was going on and that I needed to call the newsroom right away. But things have taken off in the last several years in terms of technology. It makes it impossible for us to disconnect. But I also think bosses have taken a lot of giving themselves a lot of leeway. It's like, I got a good idea, and they hit us up at 10 o'clock at night.
And here's the problem. Technology, in part, is to blame because there are solutions. There should be a timer like we have on emails. You can schedule an email, send it at this time. That should absolutely be available for texts. Because, listen, you might have inspiration at 10:30 at night and you want to send it before you forget. Technology should just have a simple scheduling. Hey, send this at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning. It's the world's simplest fix, and it wouldn't require a law.
It really is, though, the workers versus the bosses, because surveys show that, more than 60% of American workers feel that this should be against the law. It should be illegal for work offices and bosses to contact us after hours. And I think that's because we're burnt out. We're frankly burnt out. Bosses crossing the line. We feel guilty about not responding. But I want to list a few other reasonable exceptions straight ahead, Dave. What we see as reasonable exceptions to the Right to Disconnect Act next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online. Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment, and Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 56-volt battery free. That's up to a $299 value. Power through spring with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 4/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Artillery fire in Europe.
Russia launching its biggest missile attack.
Gunfire maims soldiers and civilians in the Middle East.
Humanitarian crisis.
And at home, we can barely stand in the same room.
We've never been more divided.
This spring, start over. The 194th Annual General Conference of The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This Saturday and Sunday at 10. In your car at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. On every smart speaker and streaming live on the app for KSL News Radio.
Where does a journey to wellness begin? Do you start looking for diet ideas? Or searching for exercise plans? Actually, you don't have to look far. Just look to the first 2 letters of the word wellness. We means you don't have to figure it out yourself. It means your hopes and challenges are a perfect match for our knowledge and resources. It means anything you want to achieve, together, we can achieve better. Because wellness begins with we. Intermountain Health, the power of we.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. You know, inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Every year, we seem to have a few people trying to get our free furnace promotion after the sale has ended. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I know you want to save as much money as you can, but that's not how sales work. When they're over, they're over. Lucky for you, we still have a few more spots on our schedule we need to fill, so I'm extending the sale, but I'm not quite sure for how much longer. Definitely no later than April 30th, and once I think our schedule's full enough, I gotta pull these ads, so don't wait too long to call and schedule your free estimate. Just to recap, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. So if your furnace and air conditioner are ready to be replaced, don't be one of those people that wishes they had called and taken advantage of our free furnace sale. The estimate's free, and we'll make sure you have all of the information you need to decide if our free furnace sale is right for you. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
It's complicated. These days, that's how people even describe their relationship status. When it comes to the latest complexities in your car, it's gotten really complicated. The experts at AMCO undergo the most rigorous training to stay on top of the latest car technologies, so there's nothing we can't fix. Well, except for that complicated relationship. When it comes to that, you're on your own. AA, MCO. Check engine light on? We'll check it for free.
Hey, if you want to download a great app, try the KSL News Radio app. This is different from the KSL app that you already have on your phone. I know you got probably KSL Classifieds. There's lots of KSL apps. This one is designed specifically for KSL News Radio, where you can listen live, get push notifications, the latest breaking news, and it's all free.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, dozens of miners are trapped in a quarry in Taiwan after they saw their strongest earthquake in a quarter of a century. Second, Boeing has been awarded an additional $405 million in funding to continue testing missile systems in Utah. Third, the Utah High School Activities Association is sanctioning esports as an official high school activity. Right now, sunny and 48 degrees in Salt Lake. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
David just texted one of our listeners back, and I said, we need guardrails as workers. I just wish it wasn't a law that was needed in order for American workers to disconnect from their bosses after work hours, whether that's nights or weekends. California now considering a law. It's called the Right to Disconnect Act. To make it illegal for bosses to ping employees after hours.
I am sympathetic to bosses in this way. We don't all work the same schedule. It would be very easy to do if everyone worked 9 to 5. Say, listen, let's just keep everyone's, hours and respect them 9 to 5. But like you and I, we start working at 5 a.m. We're off in the afternoon. And if our bosses are 9 to 5, then you can see, well, if they're just doing stuff during their work day, they may need to reach out to us. But it's that crossover that makes it tricky.
Well, in surveys, most Americans, first of all, feel like this should be illegal. Most do. It's like 63%. But there's also a reasonableness factor to this when people are surveyed, employees are surveyed. And they're asked, do you think it should be illegal? Yes, but. So let's talk about some of those exceptions, and maybe that those schedule differential might be one of those exceptions that you think we might need to kind of lean into as employees. One of the exceptions that's glaring that employees are willing to give on is emergencies.
Of course,
emergencies.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a deadline that's coming up tomorrow and everybody forgot about it, or they just learned about it, or a big contract has suddenly been, bestowed upon the company, and everybody's got to come together and work through the night. Those are exceptions that most employees seem willing to give into.
Totally reasonable.
Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think where we find the line being crossed over and over is when it's not an emergency.
Yeah.
When somebody's kind of failed to schedule, it's like, why is it your lack of planning becomes my emergency? They've failed to schedule, or they have, haven't considered a big project and the deadline. So now we are suddenly being pinged on the weekend. That's where things get frustrating.
Great point.
But then there's also, and there would be in the California law, exceptions for like emergency services, or it sounds like on-call type of employees. And you and I have worked in the news business where on-call is a given, right?
And emergency is a very loose term.
Well, it's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. I remember, Debbie, I kid you not. This was my worst experience. I was a photographer. So often we have an assignment desk that says to the photographers, hey, there's something happening here. Drive out there, get some interviews, shoot some footage.
This is for a news story.
Yeah, this was a news story. My shift was over. I'd just gotten back to the station. The show was over. So this was probably 10:45, 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, at night. Wow.
And one of the assignment guys said, hey, Dave, I need you to go shoot a cat on a roof. And I laughed. I thought, oh, he's messing with me. There's no way at 11 o'clock at night you have to extend my workday and say, you got to go shoot a cat on a roof?
Yeah.
Like, we make fun of people that do that.
I've got one for you, too. Did you go?
I think I talked my way out of that one.
By the time I get there, the cat's going to have found its way down.
Yeah.
Cats do that.
Dog on lawn next. Yeah. Bunny in cage. Like, come on, man. What are we doing?
I was really a young reporter here, not at KSL, but at Channel 4. And we had a really awesome reporting staff and photographer staff. It was early 90s, and we were just always on the go. And the shifts were long, the days were long. and we had these on-call shifts. And then when you weren't on call, you were backup on call. So you're basically always on call. You know what I mean? The bosses worked out the schedule that you didn't have any life outside of news. So I was fast asleep one night, and I was single. You know, it wasn't like they were interrupting the whole family or anything like that. And it was back in the day when we still used landlines. I didn't have a cell phone. I had a cell phone, or I had like a 30-minute limit starting in like 1994. You know what I mean? It's like, so I had this landline and the phone rings, and these are the ones when the phone rings, you absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
It's
like a bomb goes off. Like someone's breaking into your house.
Head on the ceiling. And the producer called me and she says, "We got a fire and you got to go to it and it's bad." And I said, "Okay." So, and I'm a mess, right? My hair's all over the place. I jump in the car and I'm blurry-eyed. I get my glasses on, I'm sure. And my glasses are, like, my vision's horrible. They're Coke bottles, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to drive through the night in somewhat of a snowstorm to this. And I get halfway to this location, somewhere in Salt Lake County. And she calls, I guess she called me. She paged me because we had these horrible pagers on the side of our hips once we got in the car. That's how you really, she goes, "Never mind, it's a dumpster fire." No, and
literally.
And it's not like a dumpster fire inside of no, it was just literally
That wasn't a figure of speech.
A cardboard
literally
box on fire.
A dumpster was on fire.
So, it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I get back home. I'm like, well, who's going to bed now?
Yeah.
I cleaned my whole house.
Oh, yeah. You're wound. You're wound up.
I had all my spring and fall cleaning done by 6 a.m. So this is the way of the news world. This is how the news world works. What I never really understood until I started looking up data today is this is how the rest of the world has been working too. And I'm willing to bet, especially since email has become a thing, which has been around 20 years. I think Gmail celebrated its 20th birthday like this week, by the way. Pagers went out. I mean, I don't know where the pagers went. They're all in the landfill right now. But cell phones and text and, instant messaging and all the other things that bosses can ping us on, I think we're just worn down. And we feel like we have no life for our family. We can't count on off hours to be with our family or just be in our own space and have a little R&R to ourselves.
You touched on something that just kind of a light bulb moment for me. You mentioned like 15 different technologies where we can be contacted.
And apps.
Slack, Teams, phone, text, email, instant messaging, Facebook, Twitter. I mean,
I'm getting anxiety.
As I was just rattling them off?
Yes. And if you miss one.
You didn't see that? Oh, you didn't see? I messaged you on that. I know because I had the audacity to go to my kid's softball game. My bad. Sorry, I put my phone in my backpack.
I think it's creating an atmosphere where we never disconnect. Our brains are burnt out. Mm-hmm. Our kids are paying the price. I certainly know my kids did because I was a reporter.
Dad's nose is in the phone.
Dad's a police officer. Mom's a reporter. Yep. And kids are sitting there needing their homework done, and you can't ever feel like you can tear away to focus on.
True.
You can't be in the moment. You're always in. So I thought this was just a news business thing for a long time. Now I knew, police officers too. You're getting called after hours. I understand. I was married to a police officer for many, many years. So sometimes we can make these exceptions, and I think exceptions to any rule are important, but they have to be realistic exceptions. They can't be made up exceptions.
And they can't become the norm.
Yeah, and then they're
if
not
it's
an exception
consistently
anymore.
happening,
Then it's just normal.
If you're getting called out consistently, if you're being contacted consistently, then perhaps you are understaffed.
So a lot of workers say they also feel pressure to answer their boss after. Like I would
of course
love it if people felt like they could just ignore it. But I feel people feel like they're literally going to be fired if they don't respond.
Absolutely.
So David, I want to take your live phone calls. Have you ever stood up to your boss for contacting you after work hours? Do you dare? 801-575-TALK. 801-5. What are you rolling your eyeballs at?
No, I'm side-eyeing you because I have never stood up for myself. I've never said, sorry, my work day ended at 3. Never.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, the man who demolished part of the historic 5th Ward Meeting House in Salt Lake City says he got hired by the property owner to do it. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more.
I spoke with Moveman Demolition LLC owner Carl Christensen this morning, and he says property owner Jordan Atkin paid him to demolish the historic 5th Ward building. One potential buyer also told me that Atkin called this a dramatic miscommunication and that the contractor was only supposed to clear trees and land. However, Christensen says, quote, Jordan paid me to demolish. That's what I do.
KSL News Radio has reached out to Jordan Atkin for comment but has not yet heard back. Our top national story this hour, the president says he is both heartbroken and outraged by the killing of 7 aid workers in Gaza, including one dual U.S.-Canadian citizen.
Israel issuing a rare and sweeping mea culpa for strikes that accidentally killed 7 aid workers in Gaza. The Prime Minister, Defense Minister, and head of the Israeli army all taking responsibility, expressing sorrow, and vowing a thorough investigation. IDF Chief Herzi Halevi says soldiers misidentified the convoy as carrying a Hamas militant and called in drone strikes. The U.S. and others outraged. Israel promising to implement changes to safeguard aid workers. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Your money at this moment. The Dow is up 92 points. That's 0.25%. We're at 39,262. Coming up, a beautiful day in store. Lots of sunshine and warmer weather. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time is 9:32. Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, you know, when the weather changes, when the wind comes in, when the storms blow, blackouts happen. Like, of course they happen. They happen everywhere in the country. That's why you may want to consider a standby generator.
And that's why you also need to call Master Electrical. They're experts at these standby generators. They're a premier dealer for Generac. And it's not only blackouts, Dave. I also think about all of our, friends and listeners who may be on a medical device that requires, electricity never stop in their home.
I think about my electrical vehicle. A lot of EVs out there. If the electricity goes out, then how are you going to charge your car? So the Generac standby generator is a great solution.
And they also have financing options to fit absolutely any budget. So give Master Electrical a call or check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Introducing Peach Doors and Windows. Are you ready to upgrade your home with stunning new doors but are overwhelmed with how to begin? Peach Doors is here to make the entire process smooth and stress-free. Visit their showroom to see their wide selection of wood doors, durable fiberglass, energy-efficient aluminum, oversized glass bifold doors, and so much more. It's not just about looks, it's about durability and security to protect what matters most. Let them help you find the perfect match for your home, budget, and personal style. Visit their showroom and see for yourself. No pushy sales tactics, only guidance from their experienced staff. No inflated markups just to offer so-called discounts. See their 5-star reviews where customers rate them on their attention to detail through every step of the sale and installation process. Amazing home transformations begin with windows and doors. Serving Logan to St. George, just Google Peach Building to see for yourself.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Michelle Rowe.
We have a crash, Amanda. This is 1600 North, affecting all directions at Geneva Road in Orem. You're going to want to allow a few minutes to get through those delays. Is the IRS harassing you? Are tax problems ruining your life? Let Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox help. Visit taxhelput.com. That's taxhelput.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's going to be a beautiful day today. Lots of sunshine, 70 for a high, 73 tomorrow. Right now it's sunny and 50 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
California considering a law. It's called the Right to Disconnect Act. And what it would mean is that bosses it would be illegal for bosses to contact employees after hours or like on their days off, unless there was an emergency. I mean, there are some exceptions to this proposal, but, no more of this, hey, I got a great idea. How about, at 9 o'clock at night?
There's few things that trigger me as much as EOB. If you get a little text, hey, I need this, EOB, end of business. For some reason, it puts so much pressure, and I think there's a lot of folks out there that have been taken advantage of time and time and time again, and I include myself in this, and we never speak up. We just nod our head and say yes.
I'm shocked that you didn't come at this from a boss's perspective. Because usually you're like the company guy on the show. Like you're the spokesperson for big business. Like, look, here's all the reasons why the boss might have to get a hold of you after hours, Deb. And, I mean, make no mistake about it. I mean, you have been pinged after hours for many, many years, as I. But I'm just shocked that you're taking the little guy's side on this.
Probably because I've been abused.
801-575-TALK. Have you ever stood up to your boss for contacting you after work hours? I mean, do you dare? Hi, George. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you. First of all, off the top, I want to just thank you for your military service. Our producer passed along that you did you just get out of the military?
Yes, I did. I just separated earlier this year in January, right here from Hill Air Force Base.
Well, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start. I mean, you were probably pinged quite a bit after hours. I mean, the military never sleeps, right?
Everything's an emergency to the military.
Yep, and Dave, I get at 100% agree that definitely I was abused too. So you're not alone.
What do you think of this? What do you think of this Right to Disconnect Act that's being proposed in California? And it's also already this similar laws in place in other countries like Australia and France. I mean, they're already following this law.
Yeah, so I personally myself would be in full support of it. I know a few military bases, I'm not sure which one exactly, but a few senior leaders have sort of implemented their own local policy and guidelines to where you're not able to contact your subordinates, the people below you, after a certain time. But what I was used to was you always had to be on standby, especially for different things popping off, taskings, any short notice movements like that. But it was to the extreme. Like they're saying like, oh, if you don't answer within 3 rings, it's not going to be a good thing for you.
3 rings.
Come the next day. Yeah, 3 rings. Can you imagine that?
No, because my cell
definitely-
phone's on silent quite a bit, and sometimes I just happen to look down because I got a feeling it's ringing. I just didn't look. I was like, oh goodness, it's ringing. I would never be.
Yep.
I would. Well, that's that. So, what kind of, I mean, did you feel a lot of pressure to just constantly have your eyeballs on your phone?
Yeah, always having to keep it charged at all times, pretty much. I ended up getting an Apple Watch for that reason, in case it was while I was sleeping, I would get the vibration on my wrist and have to answer that call. But yeah, definitely, I definitely never stood up to any of that, because everyone just nodded their head yes and went about their way.
Yes,
But,
sir. Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Wow,
but
George.
I definitely would support what they're trying to do in California. Definitely seems a lot like a lot of people are burnt out, not just military, that's a given. But yeah, it definitely should be, a time and a place. Like you guys said, your guys' poor planning doesn't constitute an emergency on my end. So yeah, definitely good on them.
Well, thanks, George.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah,
Thank you.
since you're out of the military now, feel free to spill the tea on the show, on our show anytime you want. You know the hotline number now.
And jobs are important. You say I always stick up for the bosses, in part because I'm so grateful that I have a job. And I think a lot of people feel this way. They're just grateful to have a job. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want the hassle of having to find a new one or maybe leaving on bad terms. So we just swallow a lot of quite frankly, the misbehavior. Now, there is a practicality issue, I understand, but if you're a manager, you have to understand, if I've got employees that work different hours than me, then I've got to adapt to their schedule. That's part of managing. You can't ask everyone to adapt to your schedule.
I see some hiccups with this, like if there's a time zone difference. You're working for a company that maybe headquarters is out of the country. It's on the East Coast and you're on the West Coast. I think all of that can be worked through. Dave and I talking about the Right to Disconnect Act, a proposal in California that would make it illegal for bosses under most circumstances to ping their employees after hours. We looked up, what's some advice? If you're getting pinged by your boss, and there is no law in place, and there is none in Utah, after hours, what should you do? Do you dare not respond? Well, here's what one HR expert said.
The first week I was in my job, my boss told me that he didn't expect me to answer after work hours. Then 3 or 4 days into the job, he looped me into this email thread, and it was 8 o'clock at night, and I was the one that was getting asked something. And for context, I lead HR at a global company. I am on TikTok to help you hack your HR to get ahead in your corporate job. And this was a moment where I was like, do I actually stand for mental health and leading by example and not answering? It was not urgent. It was not an emergency. It could wait till the next day. So I scheduled an email to send at 8 a.m. the next day. Did I need to open up my laptop and do that the next day? No, I took care of it right now because for my mental health, that's what I wanted. For you, I would encourage you to also lead by example. If something is truly not urgent or an emergency and can wait until business hours, then let it wait until the next day. So much of the time we get in our own way for work-life balance, and the phone notifications that come in that makes us want to solve them immediately hold us back from what we really want, which is really turning off after work hours.
Oh, I feel like I'd be testing the limits if I did that.
Yeah.
I'd be worried about not responding. I don't know if I'd be able to sleep if I didn't respond.
The only time you really feel that way is if people clarify, hey, this is not urgent, a touch base tomorrow. I just wanted to get this off my brain, off my plate. But you have to understand, even doing that, there's a pressure to respond anyway. And so often I think we minimize our time and effort. We're like, oh, no big deal. That's fine. No, let me address this.
We're going to return to this in our 11 o'clock hour, just step away from it for a little bit here. But there is a huge percentage of American workers who say, if you just did this at the beginning when I was in the interview process and let me know what the expectations are, just do this one thing, it would make a huge difference. And how I handle it when I get pinged after hours and what my expectations are. We'll get more in depth on that in the 11 o'clock hour. But did you see the video out of Taiwan? This earthquake was absolutely wild. There's a massive bridge swaying with all kinds of cars on it. It looked like a ride at Disneyland. And as I was watching it, I was actually feeling sick. I felt motion sickness. So next, Be Ready Utah live on the line. Like, what to do if you're stuck in a car and another earthquake hits in Utah and starts shaking things, like what's going on in Taiwan. Be Ready Utah up next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
It's going to be here before you know it.
Here comes the summer, like a wave of change.
Soda Weight Loss wants to help you look amazing in your swimsuit and shorts, but you got to get started right now at sodaweightloss.com. No time? Try Soda's at-home program with all the support you need online.
I didn't realize how unhealthy I was. When you start losing the weight, even that first 5 pounds, this enormous amount of confidence starts to build into you. You start to realize, like, oh, this is possible for me.
That's Lauren, and she's let go of 35 pounds with Soda. With their help, I let go of 37 pounds, and I've kept it off for over 2 years now. That's because Soda works. It's absolutely changed my life. Soda helps you break food addictions and get healthy for the rest of your life. It's why they have more than 8,700 Google reviews and countless before and after pictures and videos of people living the results every single day. Go to sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
A happy place comes in many colors. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters, that's painting happy. During our spring sales event, special offers are available through April 30th. Schedule your home painting project today and bring happiness home. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
It already feels like home.
Some things are better together, like burgers and fries, movies and popcorn, and auto and home insurance. At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we'll help you bundle your auto and home coverage in one policy, saving you money. And if a storm hits and both are damaged, you'll pay a single deductible. Find an agent at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink & McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple. It's no secret that mortgage rates have risen from historic lows over the last few years. In some cases, having a low mortgage rate can also act as so-called golden handcuffs when homeowners don't want to refinance and lose their rate. One solution to this is a home equity line of credit, or HELOC. HELOCs have higher rate than first mortgages, but they offer flexibility as they are a credit line that can be tapped into as needed. This is a way to take care of financial matters such as debt consolidation, home improvements, medical or college bills, or whatever without losing your current mortgage rate. And when rates come back down, you can refi and take out the HELOC. Call us if this is something you'd like to explore. Fink & McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple, 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
Devotion to country, service to Utah. Brent Orrin Hatch had a front row seat, watching his father serve our state faithfully in the Senate. A constitutional conservative and lifelong Republican, Brent Orrin Hatch is a champion for the rule of law. He's running for Senate to stop this lawless president from destroying our country from within. Hatch will fight to secure the border once and for all, and take on Mexican drug cartels to halt the flow of deadly fentanyl. Brent Orrin Hatch knows the national debt is just as big a threat to national security. Hatch won't rest until the budget's balanced and won't cave to the big spenders in both parties. Pro-life, deeply committed to religious liberty, rock solid Utah conservative. Brent Orrin Hatch for Senate. Paid for by Conservative Outsider PAC, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.copac.us.
Plan your special evening out in one of Salt Lake's most unique dining experiences. 5 Alls in Foothill. 5 courses, 5-star service and dining. 5alls.com. 5alls.com.
With the LDS Conference weekend coming up in just a few days, this is a great time to download the KSL News Radio app, and it makes it so easy to take KSL News Radio with you. Of course, we'll be broadcasting the conference sessions all weekend long right here on KSL News Radio. You'll be hearing them live, and if you have the app on your phone, what could be easier? And best of all, that app is totally free.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, a Draper couple is warning their neighbors after a drone looked like it was peeking into their home. Second, Utah is getting ready for some heavy snowmelt from the mountains after an above-average winter for snow. And third, a remote area of Salt Lake City at 7200 West may close so crews can clean up the hazardous waste dumped there. Right now, sunshine at 50 degrees in Salt Lake. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Be ready, Utah. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Spent the morning looking over these videos out of Taiwan. Wow, they had a 7.4 earthquake hit the city. I'm watching, what was it like? Buildings leaning. This bridge was swaying with cars on it. And I was just thinking, what? This is a great reminder as we get ready for our own earthquake drill across the state, Dave, of how fast this happens. And sometimes we just get lost over what to do.
Yeah, the Washington Post is reporting that 9 people have died, more than 1,000 people injured. Listen to CNN as they describe what is coming out of what is near Taipei.
The quake hit during the morning commute, and look at this. There's dash camera video just capturing traffic coming to a standstill as it all happens, and the highway very clearly beginning to shake. And then there's also this. One man, he was in a rooftop swimming pool when it all started. You can see the massive waves that were caused by the tremors. We're also getting a look of how it unfolded inside one television studio. Watch this.
Oh, 天哪! Oh, my God!
So scary.
Now, what is incredible, Debbie, you talked about these leaning buildings. Imagine the Leaning Tower of Pisa. That is what this looks like. These buildings are at a 30-degree angle, just looking like they're going to topple at any moment. And they're dealing with massive aftershocks as well. They've had 14 aftershocks that are as large as the earthquake we had here in Utah.
Well, they're also searching for people. There's 1,000 people who've been injured. I just got an alert from a national news organization. Says there's 9 people have been found dead. So this is going to be a massive cleanup effort and search for people. And as I was watching one of these videos, Dave, this big bridge, kind of reminded me of what we saw, last week with that bridge.
Baltimore.
And I thought, well, I hope this bridge doesn't snap because my goodness, there's all kinds of cars on this bridge. And there were a lot of motorcyclists too, by the way, in Taiwan. So Wade Matthews with Be Ready Utah, we just had you in studio yesterday getting us ready for the Great Shakeout on April 18th here in Utah, which is our big earthquake drill we do every year, Wade. And then this earthquake hits in Taiwan, and I'm watching these cars go back and forth, and everybody stopped on this bridge, and I thought I would want to get out of my car and start running. Ooh, is that the worst thing I could do?
Yes, most likely. Good morning, Dave and Deb. This is definitely a reminder of what could happen here in Utah. I mean, the magnitude 7.4 is similar to what we expect could be the highest magnitude quake on the Wasatch Fault. And magnitudes are logarithmic, so it's 10 times greater than a 6, 100 times greater than a 5, which is what the magna quake was. So this would be 100 times greater than what we experienced with that quake. But yeah, you just got to stay where you are and ride it out. You don't have time to run to an exit in a building or whatever. You've just got to stay put and ride it out. It's going to be shaking so violently that you can't really move anyway.
I think about my vehicle. So if I were inside my vehicle, there are all sorts of protective features in the vehicle. As soon as you jump out of your car and try to run out of the way, it seems like you're leaving the very protection that you should be searching for.
Yeah, that's correct. You know, whether you're outside on a bridge full of cars or inside of a home with furniture and things like that, you've just got to stay where your cover is. So we say drop, cover, and hold on, which means a lot of different things in different situations. In a car, I mean, stay in that car. Just try not to be under power lines or next to tall trees or buildings. And if you can avoid it, try not to be on a bridge or under an overpass. But you just got to stay in the car. You know, in a home or a building like these buildings that we see tilted, you just have to ride it out. Get underneath a desk, table, a chair, hold on to the legs until the shaking stops. That holding onto the legs keeps that table or desk overhead and protecting you from getting hit by falling objects and things like that. You can't run into or out of a building. You just got to stay put and ride it out.
Yeah, I learned that in the magnitude earthquake. When you start running, you definitely feel like your legs aren't moving. And I was thinking about the bridge. I just worried that thing was going to give way. Thankfully, it didn't. I also think about the earthquake and the '89 earthquake. Was it 89? And on the
San Francisco.
the Bay Bridge and all that.
Right.
So I think about that, but I know I guess you just stay there and you pray. I mean, but I'm also looking at video, Wade. By the way, Wade Matthews of Be Ready Utah, as we gear up for our own earthquake drill here in Utah, the Great Shakeout. My goodness, Taiwan is it's a mess right now. We had that 7.4 magnitude. There's the search is on for people who have been trapped. I look at the video of people gathering in the streets under these, looks like leaning buildings. Now, I don't know if they have anywhere else to go. I'm sure some of them were just pedestrians in the moment. I thought I wanted to yell at them, Wade, get away from the buildings because they're leaning and I'm afraid they're going to give. I don't know what the options are in those moments.
Right. No, that's very plausible, and that, you know, especially with aftershocks, and as we've seen, their aftershocks have been as big as our magna quake. So that could, if a building is already badly damaged, you know, tilted or twisted off of its foundation, yes, you've got to evacuate that building immediately. Do not re-enter, and then definitely don't be standing underneath of a tilted building or something like that. And then that's where our emergency preparedness comes into place, where and again. You hope for the best, you plan for the worst. And maybe in this case, you're not going to be able to go back in and get your disaster supply kits or get your water storage or your medication, et cetera. We hope we can in these situations, but that's why we have put those emergency preparedness steps in place.
Wade Matthews, thank you for joining us from Be Ready Utah. If you're looking for good resources, go to shakeout.org/Utah, and you can also register for the Great Utah Shakeout that we'll be participating in next week.
I appreciate Wade's information on this and like what to do. I have to just constantly remind myself, Dave, of what not to do because my intuition says just get out of there.
Yeah.
But when you're on a bridge and the thing is shaking and cars are stopped, there's really nowhere to go. There's nowhere to maneuver your car, and that's what I was looking at. I was just looking at a lot of cars. They weren't. I don't want to say they were trapped. It was like an instant traffic jam.
Yeah.
And you could just all these videos, like I said, it was almost like they were on some sort of a Disneyland, an e-ticket ride on Disneyland all of a sudden.
That was shocking that this quake in Taiwan was 100 times bigger than what we experienced here in Utah.
We have an update straight ahead on what the city's been concerned about, this illegal demolition of a church, an old church building near downtown Salt Lake City. Our very own Peter Johnston has been getting to the bottom of what went wrong. He's live next.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, day 3 of jury selection in the trial of Chad Daybell. Court about halfway through, putting together an initial pool of about 50 prospective jurors. The grandfather of J.J. Vallow, one of the children Daybell is accused of murdering, tells KSL-TV he's praying for those involved.
It's going to be extremely hard on the jurors once they're picked on what they're about to hear, but more than anything else about what they're about to see.
Many potential jurors are being excused because they know too much about the case. The University of Utah men's basketball team fell to Indiana State and were knocked out of the National Invitation Tournament. Final score 100-90. The Utes finished the season with 22 wins and 15 losses. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The founder of World Central Kitchen says he welcomes the Israeli government's promise of an investigation into the attack that killed 7 of his workers in Gaza. Jose Andres says the investigation needs to start at the top, and he's demanding Israel open more land routes to bring in food and medicine to Gaza. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average and the NASDAQ, both up, but just a bit on the day so far. And our KSL weather looks like a sunny day with the temperature getting up to 70. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hey guys, do you know your T-level? Revive Men's Health here in Salt Lake City is helping you take that first step toward better health and enhanced intimacy with a free testosterone level test, exam, and consultation. Plus, for this month only, qualified patients can kickstart their treatment with a free supply of ED medication. Revive's customized ED treatments can provide immediate results, restore blood flow naturally, and even bring spontaneity back into your love life. With both in-person and telemedicine appointments available, plus free shipping directly to you, Revive takes the hassle out of treating low T and ED. Having an optimal testosterone level can change your whole life, and it starts with knowing your T level. Take that first step and book your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation, and kickstart your treatment with a free supply of ED medication this month only. Call Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City at 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Heard the catchphrase that's sweeping the nation?
Jackson, Hugh, yeah.
People are saying Jackson Hugh yeah to Jackson Hewitt because they love saving money on tax prep. Do you love saving money? Then switch to Jackson Hewitt today and pay less than last year. Thousands of people have already made the switch. Why haven't you? Stop waiting and start filing. You won't get a better deal or a better catchphrase. All together now.
Jackson Hugh, yeah!
Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! And call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins, and few have met the rigorous certification by Kia, Dodge, Infiniti, Chrysler, Jeep, Nissan, Hyundai, and many others. But it's one more reason that Martins is your right choice. Check online at martinscollision.com. On State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martin's Collision Repair.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins. Many shops have ASC and ICAR certified technicians, but few have certifications by General Motors, Nissan, Chrysler, Hyundai, Jeep, and many others, making Martins your right choice. Online at martinscollision.com, on State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martin's Collision Repair.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Well, I-15 is pretty quiet right now. We do have some slowdowns, though. This is on Bangerter Highway where they're doing the construction, 4700 South. You're going to see the delays going northbound through that area. The best kept secret is this is the pass. It's a pass for fun for everyone now through April 30th. Save $20 off every annual pass level. 362 days of fun. Visit thisisthepass.org or thisisthepass.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
And our KSL weather, sunshine, 70 degrees today, 73 tomorrow, with clouds building up, then much cooler Friday and Saturday with a storm moving in. 52 degrees and sunny right now. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, the D2 Follow-Up Report. We stay connected to important stories to give you the latest.
Such a strange story that started to unfold on Easter Sunday of all times when...
with the three things you need to know.
A track hoe shows up and starts tearing down the historic Fifth Ward Meeting House. It wasn't being used, on 740 South and 3rd West. But the city stepped in and had to issue a stop work order on it. It's like, you're not supposed to be tearing this building down. You don't have the proper permits in place to do that.
And it was almost, from what I understand, almost just fortuitous that somebody drove past and watched this being torn down, and they knew, you can't do that. I mean, if I drive by and I see somebody tearing something down, I just assume, I guess they're doing everything by the book.
They picked such an odd time to start tearing it down on Easter Sunday, and it was somebody from the city that took notice, and then that's when the city all these city employees started putting the wheels into motion on Easter Sunday and tearing themselves away from their family, dinners and meals and making sure this building didn't get torn down. And Peter Johnson, you've been doing a great job tracking down more information for us. I just can't believe this even happened to begin with. So who have you been talking to, and what new information can you share with our listeners?
Yeah, thanks, Debbie. It's great to be here. This story keeps getting weirder and weirder every passing day that I'm focusing on this. So the big update, I'll just start with this, right? The lead is that I talked to the demolisher, the guy who was literally operating that orange excavator that's now sitting on hundreds of bricks, okay? He's with a company called Moveman Demolition LLC. He's worked with the property owner, Jordan Atkin, for years doing housing demolition projects, and he says, I do this all the time. So what he said, and I made sure to ask very, very clearly over and over about this. He said, quote, Jordan paid me to demolish. That's what I do. He said, quote, there's no land there to clear. And so that second one I think is important to mention, and I think that we've got some sound that I'm going to tell our producers to play in a sec.
Okay.
That it's that second one. And the first one. But basically, I also talked to a buyer of this thing that said that basically they were in talks to get this thing purchased, and they just found this happening. So let's start with the
Craig Sorensen.
He said it was a dramatic miscommunication, and that the contractor that was supposed to come was supposed to clear a few trees and things on the outside of the building, but through this dramatic miscommunication, they somehow thought it was supposed to be demolished. It was kind of uncanny and hard to believe, but that was the narrative that was given to us by Jordan Atkin, and we just have to go with that. And we were just so sad that this might affect this awesome project that we had going.
So the idea was we're going to clear out some trees, which you don't necessarily need a permit for, and that through this miscommunication, it ended up being tearing down the building or parts of the building.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the line that was given to them supposedly by Jordan Atkin. However, I just want to emphasize again this quote from the demolisher. I said, just to be clear, were you hired to tear down trees? And he said, there is no land there to clear. And then he kind of laughed. And it's like, we both know it's like,
okay.
And there were trees there. I investigated the property. I looked around.
You went out there?
There's stuff, but like, that's what he said. So read between the lines. he's basically saying, yes, I was paid to demolish this building on this day.
So, so there appears this Craig Sorensen we just heard from who said this.
He said it was a dramatic miscommunication and that the contractor that was supposed to come was supposed to clear a few trees and things on the
His
outside
name's
of the
Craig
building.
Sorensen. How
but
does
through
he
this
play?
dramatic
Remind me how he
miscommunication,
plays
they
into this
somehow
story,
thought we were
Peter.
supposed to
Totally. So Craig is one of the buyers. There's two guys
I see.
who wanted to get this property. This is where it gets really weird, okay? So these guys have been in talks with Jordan Atkin, the property owner, for a little while now, several weeks. And Jordan Atkin told them that he was very excited about this. He went to all the meetings. He talked to the city. Their plan was to turn this into a community space for LGBTQ members of the community and people of color. Then, lo and behold, one of them is walking down the street on March 31st, kind of like the guy from the city, and he says, oh my gosh, they're tearing down the building that we are days away from buying? And so that's what's so strange is that it's like, if there's a deal in the works that is worth quite a bit of money to buy this, why would
They
the
want the
property
building.
owner tell the demolisher to take this down?
So they wanted the building. They weren't interested in cleared land.
No.
Okay.
They were confused.
They're not just interested in the lot. They like the building looks beautiful. I mean, not now, but it did. It looked beautiful. And if
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
fallen
if
into disrepair a little bit,
Yeah,
but it's a
sure,
pretty place.
Sure,
Yeah.
but buildings can be repaired and
I was going to say, can you describe before the tear down or before the partial tear down, what was the condition of the building that you saw?
Yeah, totally. And I took pictures today. You can still see quite a bit of this building up. They didn't tear down the entire facade. They tore down a room, right? But what's there is graffiti, boarded up windows. If you go around the back, some windows are smashed in. There looks like some places that people might have gotten in. It's kind of scuzzy, not the best condition leading into this.
what happens now?
So the buyers, they have no idea.
So everything, that sounds like that might be on hold.
It is, and they're very confused. And if you ask Salt Lake City Council, they had a meeting yesterday, and they threw this on last minute. They're very upset about this, and they passed some amendments that are designed to beef up enforcement, where you can't just – it's already a rule that you can't tear these things down without a permit, and they did not have a permit for this. But now it looks like the penalties are going to get steeper for this. And so Salt Lake City Council is doing a lot there. And one other thing I'll mention is there are talks among the council of potentially making the property owner pay to rebuild what's been destroyed.
So do we know if this building was had structural integrity before? Was it condemned? Do we know anything about that? And has this partial demolition changed any of that? Will it need to, because it's already been torn down in some ways, will it need to be removed completely?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about, it was condemned, you can't build here. I did talk to the buyer, Craig Sorensen, and he says they were planning on spending big money to repair this. But it wasn't like no one can go inside. It's going to collapse on your head broken.
So was Craig Sorensen a potential buyer, or did they have something in place, like contract signed?
Right. So there's no signature on the dotted line.
Okay.
But they
There's
literally
a potential buyer.
Yes, but they literally had 3 people come by: structural engineer, construction workers. They were going to have an architect the following day come check it out to do pricing. So they'd already discussed prices, but this was all the process to set up that official price. And then lo and behold, somehow this thing starts tumbling down.
Peter, there's lots of twists and turns to this story. Glad you're still making phone calls and you're on it. I know our news team is on it as well.
And I do want to mention really quick, I have reached out to Jordan Atkin.
Okay.
We really want to get his side of the story here. We don't want this to be one-sided. We do know he's talked to Building Salt Lake. He said that he doesn't want to drag his partners through the mud on this. He knows it's a very hairy issue. But he has not responded to my request for comment, but we hope he'll get back to us.
Well, we welcome him. We have a call line, 801-575-TALK. I'm sure you've left him a phone number or a way to contact you as well. So he can call us here, 801-575-TALK. We'll get him right on the air and get his side of things. Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio reporter, on this case of the building, the old Fifth Ward Meeting House, the historic meeting house that was torn down or started to get torn down on Easter Sunday. The city said they didn't have the proper permits in place to do that.
And now it's a little bit of a he said, she said situation of what was intended and what's going to happen. We will continue to follow this.
There has been so much chatter around Major League Baseball coming to Utah, but now I'm wondering if this is also kind of a twisted tale forming now, because it looks like the Oakland A's that were going to be the appetizer to a Major League Baseball team here in Utah and play in South Jordan, at least temporarily. It looks like they may be flirting with another city now, and we may be out of luck.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, let me tell you, I've had my Connecticut water softener for years now, and I've loved it. I've loved having it because the benefits of soft water are many. So, number one, we're coming out of winter right now. We're starting to enjoy this beautiful weather, but the winter time was really, really hard on our skin. It just dries out our skin and our family. So soft water has made a huge difference. And I know a lot of Utahns deal with the same stuff we do, just dry skin. You bathe in lotion. Soft water is a huge help with that. It's also easy on your clothes when you're doing laundry. It's great for making sure everything is clean. You've probably seen around your house all the hard water stains and buildups. If you don't have soft water, and it's very difficult to clean those off, you need expensive and harsh chemicals to clean those stains off. I know I spent $1 billion trying to get those spots off my dishes. Soft water's been great. Connecticut has been a dream to work with. 801-576-8600 is the way to get a hold of them. Let them come out to your house. 801-576-8600. That's Connecticut. They're an authorized Connecticut dealer. You can also learn more by going to softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
It's spring, and it feels good.
Sunny and 71 on Thursday. Glorious. It's the warm before the storm.
By Saturday, it's cold enough that we could see the rain transitioning to snow, even for valleys.
Well, for a couple of days anyway. Get a reliable KSL forecast for this week and conference weekend every 10 minutes on the 9s on KSL News Radio.
Hello, Spring. This is your friend, Adventure. You've been on my mind, and I'm wondering where you've been. Weather's warming, and word on the street is you're looking for riders to enjoy Cedar City Brian Head's spectacular trails? Well, I'm told Three Peaks Recreation and Parawam's Evil Water Trail System are the bomb. Or perhaps you've changed. Maybe you're more into hiking? Kolob Canyon or Thor's Hammer Trail make a perfect meetup place. Oh, and don't forget Cedar City's spectacular views accompanied by disc golf at the Thunderbird Garden Course. Listen, I've always been here. I still like the same things, spring skiing, tubing, but I'm more mature now. My interests have expanded. There's Cedar City's Southern Utah Museum of Art, strolls downtown, fine dining or shopping. I'm more interesting than you know. Let's connect and rekindle our relationship, starting in the spot we always enjoy. Cedar City Brian Head. Look me up at visitcedarcity.com. Your old friend, Adventure.
This Monday Tax Tip is brought to you by Susan Spears, CEO of the Utah Association of CPAs.
In 2021, Congress passed the Corporate Transparency Act. This law creates a new beneficial ownership information reporting requirement as part of the U.S. government's efforts to make it harder for bad actors to hide behind anonymous entities as part of illicit financial activities. In the U.S., it is estimated that 32 million companies will be required to make this filing to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN. To find out if your organization is exempt, contact your CPA.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a CPA. Go to uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. That's uacpa.org. uacpa.org. Listen to KSL on Monday for more tax tips from the Utah Association of CPAs.
The life of a small business owner. Keeping the lights on, calling all the shots. And then there's workplace accidents. 500-degree ovens, rusty nails. Danger lurks around every corner. Workplace accidents can happen, but there is an easy way to keep your employees covered. Talk to your agent about workers' comp coverage from Pi, or go to piinsurance.com and get a quote. Safety first, then Pi Insurance. Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to policy terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, as he did during Lori Vallow's trial, J.J. Vallow's grandpa says he'll be in the courtroom every day for the Chad Daybell court case. Daybell is charged with murder in the deaths of J.J. and his sister. Second, the University of Utah men's basketball team ended its season with a loss to Indiana State in the NIT yesterday. And third, the head of a major aid group feeding starving people in Gaza says he welcomes an investigation into the Israeli airstrike that killed 7 of his workers. Right now, 52 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
I think this news about the Oakland A's, I think this is a big ouch and a huge issue that could stand in our way from bringing a Major League Baseball team to Utah.
Yeah, Debbie, I follow this so closely, and anything that hurts the possibility of us getting a baseball team just sends my heart racing.
Well, maybe it doesn't mean we're totally out altogether, but this sure puts a big wrinkle in it. So let's reset where we're at right now, because there's a lot of base runners involved.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let's reset where we're at, and then we're gonna give Dave all of the airtime to explain what in the world is going on in the state of California right now involving the Oakland A's that could really be a problem for us bringing even the Oakland A's here temporarily, and then bringing a Major League Baseball team to Utah to play in a new stadium that they just set $1 billion aside for to build on the west side of Salt Lake City. Okay. So let's start with the Oakland A's and the temporary pitch to come here and play in this South Jordan Stadium that's being built for the Bees, the Salt Lake Bees, by 2025. Let's start there.
Next year.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with the Oakland A's entertaining the idea a few months ago, visiting the area to check out the site and talk to, the powers that be about maybe expanding the stadium for seating in South Jordan.
Family. Yep.
Yes, the Miller family et al. And because they're trying to get this stadium built on the Las Vegas Strip. In fact, the Tropicana Hotel just shut down. It's going to be where the Trop is, and that is taking some time. They obviously, if they just shut down the Tropicana to hotel guests this week, they got to tear that place down. So they're going to come here and play for 3 years, and then the Bees were going to stay in downtown Salt Lake City, or close to downtown Salt Lake City, and play at the 13 South location. Well, and then in the meantime, there's the idea of getting an expansion team. Dave, this is your wheelhouse.
Okay, so there's 3 very important parts to this. There's the A's, and it all has to do with the Oakland A's. There's the A's temporary move that you just described. They're going to go to Las Vegas. That's the permanent move. So you got the temporary move, the permanent move, and then how is Utah affected? And why do we care so much about the Oakland A's? Well, okay, so the hopes of us getting a Major League Baseball team is absolutely contingent on Las Vegas getting a Major League Baseball team first. Because if there is a competition for a Major League Baseball team between anyone in Las Vegas is going to win. So we have to take Las Vegas off the table. We need to make sure that the Oakland A's go to Las Vegas, because then that opens a door for us possibly getting an expansion Major League Baseball team. If the A's move to some other city, guaranteed the next baseball team is going to Las Vegas and not Utah.
Well, they're on the verge, it sounds like, of just, making room for a stadium there. So obviously they have, a lot of people visit there. They're a huge tourist attraction. They just had the Raiders move over not too long ago, and they've got a beautiful stadium there. So I could see why we'd want the A's to definitely go to Vegas.
Yes.
Right.
And there's a kind of a handshake deal, a little more than that, but kind of a handshake deal that the A's are going to Vegas. So let's go back to this temporary move. The temporary move where they've looked at playing in Salt Lake perhaps for 3 years.
South Jordan.
Sorry.
Specifically. That's
yeah.
okay.
So playing here in Utah for 3 years. Well, Sacramento has now stepped in, which is only about 90 minutes outside of Oakland, and said, hey, no, don't go play in Utah. Come play in Sacramento.
Yikes.
Now, that's just a temporary thing. Where's the panic mode yet? Should you be panicking yet?
Well, it sounds like I should. You're going to tell me why.
I'm going to tell you why. Is because the Sacramento Kings owner is like best friends with the Oakland A's owner.
Billy Beane?
Yeah, well, Billy Beane's the GM.
Okay.
So John Fisher is the owner for the Oakland A's.
The cheap guy. Okay.
Yeah, the cheap guy. And runs just a disastrous franchise. But anyway, they're super close. Sacramento is desperate for a Major League Baseball team. They would love to have the Oakland A's come there. There's already the relationship between owners. It's 90 minutes away. Sacramento is much larger than Salt Lake City. It's got about 500,000 people in Sacramento. Salt Lake's got about 200,000.
So if the A's go to Sacramento
temporarily
to play,
maybe there's a huge groundswell of support.
They stay.
That launches into a full-time Major League bid.
Yikes.
That they move there.
And then Vegas is now
Vegas
wide
is
open.
without a team.
Okay, you're making sense.
And again, if it's between Vegas and Utah, Vegas wins every time. It's not even close. We do not want to compete against Vegas. So we have to sabotage any way we can Sacramento's relationship
odd
here.
That our future chances of getting a Major League Baseball expansion team hinges on a not so great team. I mean, the Oakland A's were good, 20 years ago or something like that. They've been okay.
They're good off and on.
Yeah,
they're
hot and cold.
There's lots of teams that have been way worse than the A's. My Cincinnati Reds for one.
Who?
But
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal, Deb.
Isn't that who your dad played for?
Gloves up.
The Reds.
I wish he played for the Yankees. I wish he played for the Yankees.
Well, okay. So let's roll the dice here. What do you think our odds are?
Okay, so
or how does this change our odds?
That's a great question. This is me speculating. Just this report came from ESPN's Tim Count, who's an excellent reporter. So if he's reporting this is legitimately a possibility that the A's could play temporarily in Sacramento, and it's not a leap that Sacramento wants a Major League Baseball team. If there's great support on the temporary move, maybe that temporary move turns into a permanent move. And now all of a sudden, Las Vegas is back in play for an expansion team.
And we don't know where that leaves Salt Lake City. And this $1 billion pot of money that lawmakers have approved, they're going to collect it through sales taxes in the district. And we talked about that during the legislative session. There's $1 billion pot of money that's going to be collected for a downtown NHL and probably a NBA stadium scenario. But then there's this other $1 billion that lawmakers are looking to raise to help fund the stadium on the west side for MLB. So does that throw that in a...
It absolutely...
I mean...
They claim it doesn't. The developers have said, no, we're going to invest on that west side. It was going to be a $3.5 billion investment. But let me tell you, Deb, the bright, shining beacon of that entire development is a Major League Baseball stadium. If you remove that from the equation, how does that not affect the entire redevelopment of that area? So I'm pretty worried. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of optimism out there. Utah feels wonderful about their bid. We've put on an A list. We've lined up all the ducks up in a row. We've done a great job preparing for all of these things. But this is an important development.
We got to continue to track the story.
Yes.
Trust me, our team of reporters and producers, as well as our team of Dave Noriega, keep us posted on what you're learning. You seem to have a lot of knowledge about this, Dave.
I read everything there is to do with about a Major League Baseball team in Utah.
Well, we got to have an update tomorrow. So tomorrow on the Dave and Dujanovic show, we will have an update. Whatever that update is, we will have it here on the latest on this development.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. A couple from Draper told police a drone was looking in their windows last night. Drew Houston tells KSL TV he suspects it could be more than just invading privacy.
And the other thought is, it could be somebody who's checking out houses for potential burglary sites.
Houston says it was disturbing watching the drone go from house to house in his neighborhood. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. In Kentucky, they've had tornadoes across a swath of the state. Started in Indiana, and that weather system now moving toward the Carolinas, North and South Carolina right now. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average right now looking up on the day, about 76 points. The NASDAQ is up around 82. And coming up, it looks like we'll be seeing some beautiful weather today and even warmer tomorrow, but with some clouds moving in. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
I think a lot of people, myself included, have been bitten by the bid. Have you ever had some work that you needed to be done at your house and the contractor comes out and it's like, oh, I'll knock that out in a half a day. This is super easy. This is what it's going to cost you. And then that 4-hour job turns into a 2-week job. And the bid they originally gave you has nothing to do with the invoice that you actually received.
This is why you have to call Master Electrical. Don't leave bids as a guessing game. You need their upfront pricing guarantee. And that's what Master Electrical is all about, that upfront pricing guarantee. The price they quote you in the beginning of the job, Dave, is the price you pay when the job is done.
Whether it's lights, ceiling fans, smoke detectors, EV chargers, anything that has to do with electrical, Master Electrical can take care of your needs.
And they serve from Logan to Santa Quin. So make sure you give them a call today. 801-543-2222, 801-543-2222.
Always open, even for emergency services. Check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
Ready to wake up in a new destination nearly every day with Norwegian Cruise Line? Book today with free second guests to Alaska, Europe, and beyond. Plus, everyone can enjoy their vacation with free unlimited open bar, free specialty dining, and more. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Offer ends soon. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA. Restrictions apply.
The rest of my life gonna start today.
Introducing Peach Doors and Windows. Are you ready to upgrade your home with stunning new windows but are overwhelmed with how to begin? Look no further than Peach Windows. You know at Peach, they are all about giving you options. Peach offers a wide selection of wood windows, sleek modern black metal frames, European tilt and turn windows, plus much, much more. It's not just about looks, it's about durability and security to protect what matters most. Let them help you find the perfect match for your home, budget, and personal style. Visit their showroom and see for yourself. No pushy sales tactics, only guidance from their experienced staff. No inflated markups just to offer so-called discounts. See their 5-star reviews where customers rate them on their attention to detail through every step of the sale and installation process. Amazing home transformations begin with windows and doors. Serving Logan to St. George, just Google Peach Building to see for yourself.
Looking for a secure retirement plan without market risk? Look no further. Lyle Boss, president of Boss Financial, specializes in no market risk retirement strategies with guarantees of principal, guaranteed growth, and lifelong income. Join Lyle right here each Saturday and Sunday for his Safe Money radio show and call him now at 855-355-SAFE for your complimentary customized Safe Money information kit and Safe Money book. Nothing but upside here at 855-355-SAFE.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Michelle Rowe.
Well, we're crash-free and delay-free I-15 from Ogden to Provo. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah at gopavutah.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
And our KSL weather, sunshine, 70 degrees today, 73 tomorrow with clouds building up. Much cooler Friday and Saturday with a storm moving in. And right now we're at 54 degrees. It's sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Priced Out, housing, special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
We have some great coverage coming your way over the next 25 minutes about home buying. In a moment, we're going to speak live to KSL News Radio's Amy Kobabe Dave, who's been doing some investigation into a project she's calling Unwelcome Home. It's just the crazy prices of homes, and she's presenting some options as well about what are some options for first-time home buyers. So she'll be with us in just a few moments. But I want to start here. I saw this survey that gave homeowners an F. It's called the Thumbtack Homeowner Readiness Index. And it gave Salt Lake City, Utah home buyers, specifically Salt Lake City home buyers, an F, a failing grade when it comes to their level of knowledge in buying their first-time home. And in some cases, their second and third homes. We get an F.
You would think by home number 3, you'd have your arms wrapped around the issue pretty well. And the Stern team has helped us and walked us through some of the things and educated us. One of the things, for example, that I probably don't know much about is earnest money. You know, if you want to buy a home, and I know what earnest money is, where you're like, hey, here's $1,000. This is my unofficial, semi-official promise that I'm serious. Well, sometimes earnest money is fully refundable. Sometimes it's not refundable. Maybe it's fully refundable only up to 2 weeks. There's a lot that has to do with earnest money. What's the appropriate number? How much should it be? What should you invest? So as you're saying F, I just labeled like 15 different things that I don't know the answer for.
You know what? We got to get the Stern team on to talk about earnest money. I do know quite a bit about it because I've bought and sold quite a few properties, but I certainly don't want to be the one giving advice. But you said $1,000. I'm like, what are you buying a home in 1991? I think it's like $5-10 grand now. I remember I did have one offer once on earnest money, and it was like if you take it was something like I can't remember the stipulation in the offer, but it was something like you get to keep the earnest money. Like it was like
no matter what.
They wanted it was a bidding war on the house, and so it was like they wanted to.
Oh, they're bribe. That's called a bribe.
Yeah, I was like,
that's
I got
not
to keep
earnest money. That's a bribe.
I didn't keep it, but yeah, the earnest money will eventually go through to the when you do get the offer accepted, it goes toward
the purchase
your down payment and all that other stuff. But that's a great question because first-time home buyers will have to be looking at that. You have $5,000 or $10,000 to really show your earnest money means you're like earnest. You really want to purchase that home.
Super duper serious.
Yeah. And then it sits in an account, like in an escrow account. It doesn't go right to the seller right away. It sits there, but you're super serious about it. But let's go back to the survey of homeowners in Salt Lake City getting an F grade when it comes to kind of understanding what you're getting into. And 83% of those surveyed, Dave, were surprised by the complexity of the the home they were moving into. And they realized once they were starting, after they purchased, many of them realized they were going to have to drop as much as $30,000 into the home to fix it up. So, look, I'm just going to speak. I'm certainly not speaking on behalf of the Stern team, although I know we appreciate their support, and we often have them in studio here because they are experts in real estate. But I can speak from being a home buyer numerous times where I have fallen down and where I've actually shined. And I can tell you, as I've purchased more and more homes over the years in the Salt Lake Valley and one outside, I recognized a few mistakes that I've made in the beginning. And that is really, really understand. Like, first of all, if somebody tries to talk you out of an inspection, let's say there's multiple offers on a home, okay? And you get a real estate agent as a buyer's agent representing you, and they try to talk you out of an inspection of that home, getting a third-party inspector. It's a couple $100 to go in, or maybe it's $400 or $500. But imagine not spending $500 on a $500,000 or $600,000 purchase. Don't take that advice. That's my advice. Get an inspector in there. Oh, there's a bidding war. And if you get an inspection, well, you can tell the seller, hey, it is not contingent on what we find, the sale. But I want to make sure I at least know what I'm getting into. So there's that option too. But you got to have an agent. We've talked a lot about buyer's agents and seller's agents and the controversies surrounding, am I going to pay a buyer's agent? We talked about that on Monday because there's this whole new way of doing business when it comes to commissions. But I'm telling you, as a first-time home buyer, don't pass up getting an inspection. Don't feel that pressure. This is going to be your largest investment. Actually, I had my sister, who's a real estate agent in Arizona, tell me this. This is your largest investment. Why in the world would you not get an inspection? So you know exactly what you're getting into. So you don't run out and buy brand new furniture for that home. And you move in and you find out you need a new roof. Now you don't have the money because it's all tied up in a furniture store payment. And a lot of times, if you don't know what needs to be fixed, and this is a problem we had with our first house. We had an inspection done, but we should have gone out. Of course, we were at very first house, 95. We were involved in the bidding war. We were the buyers in the bidding war. We lucked out. We loved that home, but we were in over our heads as young buyers. We weren't handy men and women. I mean, we got in there. We learned a lot on the fly. I learned how to tile and stuff like that.
And you don't know what you don't know.
Well, we should have probably gone out, and something we didn't do is start asking professionals. When the cabinet's leaning off the wall there and the whole drop ceiling has fallen out, now it's part of the floor in the basement, what's that cost? What's that cost to repair that? So these are just some of the lessons that I've learned along the way. And when I see a staggering number of home buyers in Utah are getting an F because you don't know what you're getting into, well, those are two rock-solid pieces of advice that I have learned along the way, and I think it would be highly recommended from a really good buyer's agent. And if you don't get an agent, my goodness, take a buddy along. Not because you're going to fall in love with that house, and your spouse or the person you're buying with is going to fall in love with your that house, and you're going to have rose-colored glasses on.
And ignore a bunch of the problems.
So you either got to take the mother-in-law along, right, who's going to sit there and shoot it down every single, or you know, you got to take your buddy who's a contractor along or something. But whatever you do, you know, get a third party involved, because once you fall in love with that house, you know, you're making all kinds of bad decisions.
You need a coach, not a cheerleader.
Totally. Straight ahead, looking forward to talking to KSL News Radio's Amy Kobabe. She's been working really hard on a documentary that's coming up this weekend during the LDS conference weekend, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, holding their biannual conference. Do you know what number this is, Dave?
Oh, heavens no.
Is it just like, and it is just such an, you know, always an amazing time here at KSL News Radio, because we have so many people tuning in. So Amy is going to give us a preview of her upcoming special, Unwelcome Home.
I think the American dream is in the hearts and souls of the American people. I don't think you have to buy real estate to achieve the American dream.
Dave and Dujanovic. A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to kslnewsradio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio. With interest rates coming back down, I bet the real estate market will pick back up in 2024. We're already seeing that, Tim.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter how the market is doing when you have the right team. So if you're looking to sell your house, now you want to downsize or you need more space, you need the Stern team.
The Stern team has taught us, you know, I can think of a handful of things that I would worry about if I was buying or selling, but there are 100 details that are involved in selling a home, and they have lots of people that are handling every detail so nothing falls through the cracks.
And they have so many different options. I mean, I worked with Cammie there at the Stern team, and she was awesome. But if you need an instant cash offer, you can do that. If you need to buy before you sell, you can do that. They have flexible fees.
They also have people that they represent that are looking to buy a home, so maybe they can make that perfect connection within the Stern team.
So don't put off selling your house or buying a house because you think the market isn't just right. The market is right with the Stern team.
Go online to sternteam.com or just Google the Stern team.
Jazz fans, secure your seats for the next NBA season by getting season tickets. Season ticket members get special perks like team store discounts, savings on in-arena concessions, and more. Be there for every moment during the 2024-25 season by calling or texting 801-355-DUNK today. 801-355-DUNK. Let's go, Jazz.
Bill Riley here with University of Utah head football coach Kyle Whittingham. Now tell me, Coach Witt, what's your philosophy on a winning team?
I believe the key to winning is a strong offensive line. When the linemen do their job, nothing gets through to the quarterback, so he can do his job.
Well, what happens if the linemen don't do their job?
Ouch. You know, Bill, I recently learned that kidneys work like linemen for your body. When your kidneys work, they block poisons and chemicals from your blood.
Coach, I've heard that 1 in 9 Americans have some form of kidney disease. What can we do to fight back?
Join me, Coach Kyle Whittingham, and be part of the winning team against kidney disease. Donate your used car or truck to the Kidney Foundation. Your car will be towed for free, and you'll get a receipt for a tax deduction. Tell them how to do that, Bill.
Donate your car to the Kidney Foundation today and make your car a kidney car. Cars to save lives. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS. That's TOW CARS. Cars with a K. 1-800-TOW-CAR.
Every year, the National Kidney Foundation helps individuals and families affected by kidney disease. Help them out by making your car a kidney car. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS.
Held over due to popular demand. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Save thousands on hot tubs and swim spas. It's a major manufacturer's liquidation of hundreds of in-stock spas. Utah State Fair Park. Hot tubs discounted 40 to 80% to the lowest possible price, starting at $29.99. Free professional delivery. Take possession tomorrow, next week, next month, or next season. The Hot Tub and Swim Spa Sale. Utah State Fair Park. Shop over a dozen models of swim spas from 11 feet to over 19 feet. Swim spas offer low-impact exercise, active family fun, unsurpassed relaxation, and installation in one day. The Hot Tub and Swim Spa Sale. Everything must go. Free parking, free admission. You can't afford to miss this. It's a major manufacturer's liquidation of hundreds of in-stock spas. Friday, noon to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Hot Tub and Swim Spa Sale. Utah State Fair Park. Visit hottubandswimspasale.com.
Be with us tomorrow at this exact time. We're going to speak to KSL News Radio's Jessica Lowell and producer Claire Scott about taking the plunge. A lot of Utahns looking for a cold bath, taking the plunge in cold water. I do it. Mental health benefits, physical benefits.
You do it?
I do it. Yeah, I have a cold plunge bath in my backyard. They're going to join us and give us the insights on what research is saying behind it tomorrow at this time on Dave and Dujanovic.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a couple in Draper told police a drone was looking in the windows of their home last night. Second, a string of tornadoes hit communities in Indiana and Kentucky. That weather system is now headed to the Carolinas. And third, jury selection continues today in the Chad Daybell trial in Boise. He's accused of murder in the deaths of his wife and two stepchildren. Right now, 54 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
It's a big weekend ahead. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Of course, conference weekend is this weekend. They do it twice a year, and KSL News Radio will broadcast it live. We will also have lots of special reports. And Saturday at 1 o'clock, our very own Amy Kobabe Dave is presenting a documentary that she's been working on called Unwelcome Home, exploring the challenges of buying a home in Utah. And we know there are lots of challenges.
Lots of challenges, and not just the sticker shock, right? I mean, we know it's expensive here in Utah. Top 3 most unaffordable housing in America to some reports. So what are the other challenges?
Amy, good morning.
Good morning. There are a lot of challenges, as you mentioned. Yeah, it's not just the sticker price. For a lot of people, it's, you might have that dream home idea. And I spoke to one woman who recently had success actually finding a home. And she was like, I was delusional, is what she said. I was completely delusional about what I wanted and what I could afford.
Really?
And in the areas that I wanted to live. She said, I had cockroaches in one home that I looked at and was just completely shocked. Like, this is what I can afford, and had to completely change how she looked for a home and had to be really patient. It took her several months going every weekend out with her realtor, just finding the right place. And she eventually did. People are successful, but it takes a while.
And she's going to be part of your special report on Saturday at 1.
She is part of my special report.
Okay.
What I found with this that I think is really interesting, because, we all have our own different perspectives. If you're a homeowner, you might see it one way. If you're a land developer, if you're building homes, you see it a different way. And that's a perspective we don't always get. I spoke to one builder who said they are facing challenges they've never had to face before, where ready mix is the most expensive it's ever been. Putting in a sewer is the most expensive it's ever been, and building a sidewalk. Some of those things that you want, obviously you need a sewer, but building that is a new challenge for those builders. And then also a realtor. I spoke to Thomas Wright. He's a realtor, and he just kind of explained the current market.
Right now along the Wasatch Front, we have about 4,300 active listings. And that represents about a 3-month supply of inventory, 2 to 3 month supply of inventory, because in the last 6 months, we've closed about 12,000 transactions across the Wasatch Front. The interesting statistic is that last month we put 3,000 properties under contract, about 3,000 went under contract. And the same month last year was about 3,300. So that's off about 10%. But the inventory is still so low that buyers are having a hard time finding what they're looking for. So it's a really interesting market. And in my 25 years, I've never seen such an interesting dichotomy. And the dichotomy is that, yes, interest rates are up. It's harder to buy a home, but we still have low inventory. So it's still difficult to find what you're looking for, especially for people at the entry-level prices and what we call the missing middle. The missing middle, that rung in the ladder we need the first-time home buyers to step into to free up the first-time housing stock. They're not moving. And they're not moving because there is no middle inventory, and interest rates are too high for them to abandon the rate they got when they first bought.
That's really interesting. I haven't heard of that middle before.
Yeah.
And so it's people like my parents, right? They have their first home. They live in that home. They're not moving until they die.
Yeah. Well, that missing middle is interesting because what people do is they get into a starter home and then life changes. They tend to earn a little bit more. They start having children and they need to move up in the housing stock. And when they move up, it frees up the inventory that they were in for the new first-time home buyers. But what happened is we saw such rapid price appreciation and we saw stagnant wages that those people decided just to stay. And then high interest rates came, and now they're saying, I can't trade in this 3.5% mortgage for a 7.5% or 6.5% mortgage. I'm just going to stay here. And that blocks the first-time home buyers from getting in the market because they're not moving into the middle inventory.
That's a really, really tough, like that missing middle. Wow. It's been missing for a hot minute, Amy.
Yeah, and that's also impacted just the inventory, as he said. If you look at homes on the East Bench, if you look at homes I know, Dave, you live in Davis County.
Yeah.
In Davis County, you're looking at very different homes and a very different price range than on the west side in Salt Lake City. And so a lot of people are looking at that, and they don't want to live in maybe a townhouse with no yard. I spoke to one family who is currently renting, and the reason they want to buy a house is because their family's expanding. They're having kids. They want to get a dog, and they want that space. But even when they look at buying a home, they can't even find that space, and especially where they want it and where they can afford it, close to family in Davis County where they have childcare. So some of those things that they're facing are just all impacting the price of that home is just one thing, but it really changes when you factor in everything you need.
There's also a lot of pressure, I think, in society, maybe culturally, where to achieve the American dream, that you've got to be a homeowner.
Exactly. That's actually a Lending Tree survey found that 94% of those asked say it is the quintessential American dream. 51% of renters also asked say they will never be able to reach it.
So that breaks my heart. So more than half of renters feel like they'll never be. You asked Thomas Wright, realtor, we've had him on the show many, many times, about this very thing.
I think the American dream is in the hearts and souls of the American people. I don't think you have to buy real estate to achieve the American dream. So I don't want to say that and disqualify people who can't. That would be insensitive, and I don't believe that's true. I believe everyone has that spirit in their heart and soul.
And I think when we talk about home ownership, it's one thing to afford a monthly payment, right? So you might be able to spend a couple $1,000, $2,500 a month in rent, which might be your mortgage, except for the fact that you got to come up with tens of thousands of dollars in down payment and closing costs. So even if you could afford the hypothetical mortgage, coming up with all that money up front is incredibly difficult.
It's very difficult, and that's also difficult, as I said earlier, for the home builders. They have to front a lot of that and then make up the costs. So they're looking at alternate ways to make it more affordable. Clark Ivory, who I spoke to, Ivory Homes, said, if we could build 35,000 homes today for under 400,000, we would do it. We cannot reach that number with the current development. The areas that we want to develop, they're the difficult areas to develop. The easy areas already have homes on them.
We already built those.
Goodness.
So this will be Saturday at 1, and it's going to be real interesting. I hope you tune in because it's something that is fascinating to me. So I brought that curiosity to it and hopefully find some answers and solutions.
You and I have had some offline conversations about your desire to maybe start considering getting into a home, Amy. And so I know you had your heart and soul into this because I think we always ask great questions as reporters when we ourselves are so invested, and our curiosity is just piqued, like how we make it happen in such a crazy, crazy market for first-time home buyers.
It's what my friends are talking about. It's what my parents are talking about. How do we make this possible for our kids, our grandkids one day? What's the gap going to be between them? And so we're going to talk about it a lot on Saturday.
Great job, Amy.
Amy Kobe Unwelcome Utah, exploring the challenges of buying a home in Utah. Look forward to that on Saturday.
Next, Boyd Matheson, trading places there with Amy Kobabe to talk about rising tensions between the United States and Israel.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, the man who demolished part of the historic Fifth Ward Meeting House in Salt Lake City says he was hired by the property owner to do that job. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more.
I spoke with Moveman Demolition LLC owner Carl Christensen this morning, and he says property owner Jordan Atkin paid him to demolish the historic Fifth Ward building. One potential buyer also told me that Atkin called this a dramatic miscommunication and that the contractor was only supposed to clear trees and land. However, Christensen says, quote, Jordan paid me to demolish. That's what I do.
KSL News Radio's reached out to Jordan Atkin for comment, but hasn't yet heard back. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The state of New Jersey trying to stop New York City's congestion pricing plan, saying it hits commuters from his state the hardest. Governor Phil Murphy rejects the city's argument that congestion pricing reduces pollution. He says it just moves it from one state to another. An agreement to modify the plan could be worked out before it takes effect in June. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average now up on the day, 56 points. The NASDAQ is up 80 right now. And our KSL weather, sunshine today and tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and there's a good chance you've heard me talking about our free furnace sale. The one where you buy a new air conditioner and we give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it, about $400. Well, we still have a few more spots on our schedule we need to fill, so I'm extending the sale, but I'm not quite sure for how much longer. Definitely no later than April 30th, and once I think our schedule's full enough, I gotta pull these ads, so don't wait too long to call and schedule your free estimate. The main reason we do this sale is to give you an incentive to help us keep our guys busy when the weather's mild. And thanks to your help, we're able to keep our guys and keep growing. So if your furnace and air conditioner are ready to be replaced, you owe it to yourself to at least schedule a free estimate and get all the details about our free furnace sale. Just to recap, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The life of a small business owner. Keeping the lights on, calling all the shots. And then there's workplace accidents. 500-degree ovens, rusty nails. Danger lurks around every corner. Workplace accidents can happen, but there is an easy way to keep your employees covered. Talk to your agent about workers' comp coverage from Pi, or go to piinsurance.com and get a quote. Safety first, then Pi Insurance. Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to policy terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
Everyone's house is different, but they're all the same in one way. We all have those places where the Wi-Fi just won't go. I mean, for you, maybe it's the attic. For me, it's my basement. Well, if you had wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity, you could worry less about these dead spots. Finally. With wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity, you get fast speeds throughout your home, a reliable connection in every room, and power for all your devices, even when everybody's online. That's wall-to-wall Wi-Fi, only on the Xfinity 10G network. Get wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity for a reliable connection throughout your home now through June 21st. New customers can get started with gig speed internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and free Wi-Fi equipment included when you add unlimited mobile. Here's what you do. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, that's 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Ricky Meese.
Looking pretty good out on the Valley freeways. Traffic rolling along with no problems or delays. We do have construction blocking lanes of travel on Bangerter Highway at 4700 South and again at 9800 South. Spend time with the ones you love in the most unique dining experiences in Utah. Five All's Restaurant. 5 stars, 5 courses, full of history and tradition. Open Wednesday through Saturday. Visit 5alls.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And our KSL weather, sunshine, 70 degrees today, 73 tomorrow with clouds building up. Much cooler Friday and Saturday with a storm moving in. And right now, 55 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic have inside sources.
I felt it for quite a while. Tensions are they feel like they're rising between the United States and Israel. And then you have this airstrike. Israel's now saying it's going to investigate, but it killed 7 people. They were delivering food, right? They're aid workers. They're in Gaza. And my goodness, it included an American citizen, Dave, who was killed.
This is
terrible.
Something, I mean, think back. This was back in October when this began. We're 6 months into it now. I mean, it's incredible how much time has passed, and it's still going on.
Let's hear from ABC News's Matt Gutman first. And as I said, Israel saying it's launching a full-scale attack into what it did wrong. But let's get with the ABC's Matt Gutman, and then let's talk to Boyd about this.
The U.S. has roundly condemned this. So has Britain. So was the home country of all of the international aid workers who were killed, calling it atrocious, saying this is unacceptable. And here you have Netanyahu saying, yes, we're terribly sorry this happened, but this is war and mistakes happen. I don't think that that's the kind of apology that the White House has wanted to hear. I don't think it's something that will provide any solace to the team and the families, and it's probably just going to make matters worse.
What's difficult, Boyd, as you join this, is there is some truth to that, though. This is war, and things happen. I think of Pat Tillman. When he was killed by friendly fire, Americans, this has happened to us. So that's part of what is so horrible about war is death and destruction is everywhere.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't believe it's been 6 months. I don't know if I was expecting another 6-day war or the 20-year war that we were in Afghanistan, but maybe you can speak to this, where we're at right now.
Yeah, and I think you both raise really important things in terms of this is one of those where instant certainty is the enemy of truth, and it undermines trust. And there are so many facets to all of this, and it's important for listeners to learn to just step back and kind of go through all of these. So you can start with 180 days. That's extraordinary. And you think of over 1,000 innocent lives taken on October the 7th. You have over 100 lives that have been in captivity. Many we know are being abused in horrific ways, and their families that are 6 months in, wondering the fate of their families. You have these aid workers going in and doing the work of angels to help innocent Palestinians who have lost their lives. And so I think it's one of those things where I want to be very careful because we don't want to conflate all of these things, nor do we want to draw any kind of moral equivalence for some of these acts and some of the challenges there. I think that's the hardest part for all of us is to just step back. And so our job is to present some of these informational pieces so listeners can say, oh, hadn't thought about that, or oh, that's an insight I wasn't thinking about before. And so as you look at it, and let's start with the aid workers because that is horrific, that is horrible. People who are doing the work of angels in there. So I thought the White House response yesterday was very telling and actually quite instructive. John Kirby may be the best of the best when it comes to communicating. And so he started with the White House is outraged and the White House is furious. And that was the lead at the White House press briefing yesterday. Then he went on to talk about the fact that Hamas is still a threat to Israel. That they haven't backed down anything. If anything, they've ratcheted up their rhetoric saying October 7th, that was the beginning. we see more October 7th coming. So interesting negotiating position that we don't believe you have the right to exist or live. So that's a challenging thing. Then you had John Kirby saying, and we're selling fighter jets to Israel. So clearly backing the government and institutions there. And then the next word is out of his mouth, this is not a free pass. Do not expect the United States to look the other way in these kinds of actions. And so there's a lot of nuances there. There's some very interesting comparisons that you alluded to, Dave, in terms of Afghanistan. And if you look at the casualty and death rate of terrorists to innocent civilians based on what happened in Afghanistan versus what's happening in Gaza, the differences are not that large. It's actually kind of interesting to dig into that just a little bit. All of this, of course, in the background of waning support here in the U.S. across the board. The Biden administration has an element they've got to deal with. They are losing votes and support in their base. You had a Orthodox group deliver 180,000 individually signed letters to the president to mark those 180 days. So you have the Orthodox Jewish community coming out as well. And so you just have a lot of pieces to this puzzle that it requires all of us to really step back and be very careful about headline chasing and clickbait.
When we're looking at some of these casualty numbers, and this is a very, very difficult thing because do we absolutely go after terrorists that have attacked us? That makes sense. Like that I don't have a problem with. But then the argument is, well, the terrorists are hiding out in the hospitals or the schools. They're using human shields. So what do we do? How and do we have to send troops, boots on the ground, into each individual hospital, each individual, and put the lives of soldiers at risk? There is a morality here that I think the nation and the world is struggling with.
Yeah, and it is it's this whole idea of what is evil, what constitutes that, and this easy ability we have to conflate everything and make everything equivalent. And I think that's probably the hardest thing for all of us to kind of sort through is how do you do that, and who do you put at risk? Is it the boots on the ground IDF soldier from Israel who's trying to protect their homeland, moving through there? What is it? Is it these laser airstrikes from above? Is it going into Rafah to to wipe out the rest of Hamas? Some people are saying if you don't go into Rafah, and they're projecting there's probably 20% of the Hamas leadership is in Rafah. So is that like sending a firefighter into a burning building and dousing 80% of the fire? And what does that do in terms of future security and safety and so on? And so there's no easy answers on any of this. And I'm not going to pretend to have any of those, but there are a lot of things that we should think about and think differently about as we just try to move through and process.
So what would that be? What should we think differently about, Boyd?
So I think we have to step back. It's been very easy to a lot of folks have started to demonize Israel in terms of what they're doing, which is very easy to do when we're sitting on a beautiful day in downtown Salt Lake City in a very safe space. None of us have the experience of standing on a street corner and hearing the raid siren and knowing by the time that crosswalk thing counts down from 20 seconds for you to safely cross the street, you better be in a bunker. We don't have that experience here in downtown Salt Lake City, thank heavens.
Bunkers lined up and down the streets.
Yeah. And so it's hard for us to imagine what not being safe really feels like, and what it's like to live in that kind of fear and that kind of challenge. So I think we have to look at that from a reality when you have a sworn enemy in Hamas that their mantra is the destruction of your right to exist.
And we did have a little bit of that on September 11th, where we felt invaded. And look at our response. Our response was so extreme that you could argue maybe that is what has led to safety ever since. And this is where I think we look at it, we think, okay, well, what's the appropriate response? Like you said, is getting rid of 80% of the leadership enough, or do you have to eradicate it completely?
Yeah, and I think those are all the challenges. And the challenges in the international community become even more complicated because, of course, we're trying to deal with safety and security around the world. What does that look like? You have Iran, who is clearly the funder of all of this terrorism.
Yeah.
This is good for them, and this is good for their business and what they're trying to get done. And then we should also note that the Iranian-backed forces, the Houthis, and some of those, there's been over 165 attacks on U.S. military, whether base, whether it's aircraft, whether it's ships, whether it's individuals, and so again, it's much broader. It's easy to paint the broad brush, but there's a lot of details in there that are very human.
Thanks so much, Boyd. Always appreciate your perspective on what's going on, even behind the scenes with America and Israel and the situation that's between Israel and Hamas, and it's just so messy.
Yeah.
Boyd, thank you for sorting through with us this morning.
Thank you so much, Boyd. This segment of the David Dujanovic Show is brought to you by Window World. Replace your windows and doors without the hassle. Call Window World of Utah today.
Straight ahead, Draper Police Department on the line with us live. Apparently there's a peeping drone flying around Draper. Well, what is that all about? We'll ask them next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Odds are, if you have a 401k, it's set up with your payroll provider or an insurance company. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and if you're using your payroll provider or an insurance company for your 401k, the employer may be overpaying for the plan, the employees may have blasé investment options, and those blasé investment options may cost more than they should. Not with Trajan Wealth. Call us today, 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Services offered through a third-party partner.
The crime tore a community apart.
Chad has much more likelihood of putting on a defense.
Can the judge and attorneys pick a fair jury?
The death penalty is going to be a huge part of this.
The trial of Chad Daybell, mornings and afternoons starting this week. Listen at home for the latest developments and in the car for updates from the courtroom here on KSL News Radio.
The KSL News Radio movie show comes to My Hearing Centers this Friday from 10 to 1. But first, discover what My Hearing Centers can do for you. My Hearing Centers uses advanced technology to diagnose and treat hearing loss. These comprehensive evaluations determine the best treatment options. Then enjoy lifetime support with regular check-ins, cleaning, and maintenance. Call My Hearing Centers at 801-701-1629. 801-701-1629 for more details. My Hearing Centers has offices from Ogden to St. George.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online. Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Attention, Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George just finished a 3-day event in Vernal and is now offering these just out of the box, brand new Bernina machines at tremendous discounts with full warranties. Save thousands on the Bernina sewing, quilting, and embroidery, $735, $790, and $770 CAFE machines, featuring unmatched quality and ease of use. Many of these machines have special offers and come with free gifts with purchase. We also have a few L890 sergers and a sit-down Q16 quilting machine. Hurry in, quantities are limited. All other exciting Bernina machines in our stores are on sale too. Plus we'll have discounts on Bernina accessories and zero interest financing options. Come to Dave's Bernina now at 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo while supplies last. Dave'sBernina.com.
Hey guys, do you know your T level? Revive Men's Health here in Salt Lake City is helping you take that first step toward better health and enhanced intimacy with a free testosterone level test, exam, and consultation. Plus, for this month only, qualified patients can kickstart their treatment with a free supply of ED medication. Revive's customized ED treatments can provide immediate results, restore blood flow naturally, and even bring spontaneity back into your love life. With both in-person and telemedicine appointments available, plus free shipping directly to you, Revive takes the hassle out of treating low T and ED. Having an optimal testosterone level can change your whole life, and it starts with knowing your T level. Take that first step and book your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation, and kickstart your treatment with a free supply of ED medication this month only. Call Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City at 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
It is day 3 of jury selection in the trial of Chad Daybell, which is happening right now in Boise, Idaho. They're halfway through picking the entire jury, and this stood out to me. The grandpa of J.J. Vallow, one of the children that Daybell is accused of murdering, has told KSL5 television that he is praying for those involved in the jury process.
It's going to be extremely hard on the jurors once they're picked on what they're about to hear, but more than anything else about what they're about to see.
This afternoon, starting at 3 o'clock, make sure you tune into Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, where he will bring you the latest on the potential jury pool out of Boise, Idaho, in the Daybell trial.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the contractor who took down part of the Fifth Ward Meeting House in Salt Lake says the property owner is the one who told him to do it. The city ordered a stop to the demolition on Monday. Second, New Jersey's governor is fighting New York City's plan to charge commuters a toll for traffic congestion. And third, the White House says it's ready to send help to Taiwan after a deadly earthquake. 55 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
So I was paying attention to KSL5 television, as I always do, Dave, and I see that there's these peeping drones, or at least allegations of peeping drones. I guess drones are replacing peeping Toms that are peering in windows at night. We're going to get the Draper Police Department on the line in just a few moments to figure out what in the world is going on there.
The world of drones has changed so much and so quickly. It used to be you had to be fairly well off to afford a drone. It would cost several $1,000s, and then they became a little bit more affordable. And now you can get a drone for $100. So everyone can have a drone. It does not surprise me in any way that these things can be used as peeping Toms.
I felt like I had a peeping drone over my house one night.
Really?
I was sitting on the back deck. It was dark, and I heard zzz. And at first, it caught me off guard. I didn't know what it was. Is there a bug? Is it a locust?
Yeah.
Whatever they call those things. A cricket, a really loud cricket. I didn't know. And I look up, and there's a drone over my backyard. There's a drone, and I'm like, are they looking at me? What's going on? I don't know if there's a camera on that drone. So I can imagine what this couple in Draper is feeling. They spoke to KSL5 Television's Andrew Adams about it.
The center window, and at about, 10 o'clock high, was a drone hovering maybe 25 feet away from the window, just hovering.
They weren't just goofing around.
The green lights are in the front, and they were just green lights were pointing at our window, and then moved down to the next house.
That's when he called the police.
And another thing is the green lights on a drone, you can turn those off. You can cover them up. So if it's late at night
Is that a camera?
and it's run, what's that?
Is that a camera?
No, it's
Okay.
so you can see it.
Oh, I see.
So you can track it.
Oh,
so that other people can. Anyway, so they have some warning lights, so to speak, or some just lights to be able to follow the drone. So, but But a lot of times you won't even know the drone would be outside your window because if you're outside, it's a very distinctive sound. But if you're inside and the windows are closed and there's no lights, it very easily could be sitting outside of your window without you even knowing it.
Hi, Lieutenant.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. Lieutenant Mike Elkins with the Draper City Police Department live on the line with us. Okay, this sounds all kinds of creepy. Peeping drones? Was it just a homeowner or did it happen somewhere else that you know of?
Yeah, you're 100% right when you said earlier we replaced peeping toms with peeping drones. Essentially, it's the same thing. They're just doing it from a different location now, which makes it even more difficult. So we become aware of at least a couple different instances. First one a couple weeks ago, we had one of our local hotels call reporting a very similar thing, seeing a drone in broad daylight going from window to window before it took off over the freeway and wasn't to be seen again. And then just recently with our folks up in Suncrest, kind of in the later hours, this is such a bizarre thing. It's very new. I know I was speaking with your photographer the other day who is a licensed drone pilot, and I'm a licensed drone pilot myself. Great tool. They can do incredible things. And like you said, for a couple $100, anybody can get a hold of these things. As a matter of fact, on the classifieds, I think I saw one just the other day for like $125. And what they can do and what they can see, it's almost limitless anymore. The technology just keeps advancing. So for something like this to happen, it's unthinkable that the violation of privacy that would happen this way, but it apparently has become a thing.
I would imagine your job is so incredibly difficult with this because the drones can travel miles. It can travel 6 to 10 miles, and when it goes to leave, it can just jump up to 300 feet and travel 10 miles back. I mean, trying to track this down or crack down on it would be incredibly difficult. What are you doing, or what can you do to combat this?
Yeah, incredibly difficult. Like you said, as a matter of fact, the FAA puts a cap on operators at 400 feet. Now, the equipment itself, there's plenty of videos on the internet that will show these things going to 10,000 feet. As long as it has a signal, wow. It can do it. So I remember when they came out thinking a 5-mile range was amazing. In a little city like Draper, that covers quite a bit of ground. But like I said, the technology just keeps getting better. It's easier to fly further. By the time we get the call, they used to have a battery life of 30 minutes. That was something that was great, and now they've even extended past that. So trying to catch them, I mean, you can imagine there's that dot in the sky going overhead. We try to follow and see where it goes. Yeah. It's extremely difficult. Well, very, very difficult.
Yeah, until we get our patrol officers flying cars, I don't know how in the world you catch them. I'm just worried that maybe somebody's recording these folks inside these hotel rooms in their homes. What do you know about that, Lieutenant?
Yeah, well, it would be nice to talk to these drone operators and find out what their intentions are, because I can't think of very many legitimate purposes for peeking into somebody's window. Most of the equipment do carry camera cards, SIM card type things on board, where it would be actually very easy to record while these are happening. And the only way to really find out what the intention is either to talk to the operator or catch this thing somehow and be able to analyze that card. Unfortunately, it's like trying to catch a bird. They're really difficult. It's difficult to do. So we try to get the word out to the public that if you know someone who's doing this, or you've seen your neighbor do it, or that it's happening somehow, give us a call. We would definitely like to have that conversation and find out. Utah has kind of caught up with the times and amended its laws, where operating one of these over somebody's private residence, where they have that that expectation of privacy it's a violation of state law. And if you're recording, you're actually committing another violation of voyeurism under Utah law. On top of that, there are federal laws that are governed by the FAA that you are potentially violating.
Yes.
So, if you think this is funny, you're showing your friend, look what I can do. I've got this tool that's really easy to operate, and look how far it goes, and look what we can see. You really need to think twice about that and be careful where you're flying and what it is you're deciding to look at and who you're looking at.
Lieutenant.
The great thing is Utah has all this wonderful open space. You're going to get a much better picture
legally
over that than than peeping on your neighbors.
Wow.
Well, Lieutenant Mike Elkins, thank you for joining us. Best of luck. Hope somebody whacks one of those things out of the air,
That's what I was thinking.
pulls the SD card, and you
broom.
can and then you can fingerprint it. There we go. Problem solved.
I was going to suggest to the Draper City Police Department, offer a reward. Offer a reward, because I'm telling you what, rewards work. Somebody will snitch on somebody for $500 or $1,000. I'm telling you what, we'll get this case solved for you. We'll get this case solved for you. We got to figure it out, because that is all kinds of creepy. Drones hovering around people's windows, and he said even a hotel had reported the drone was flying by from window to window there in Draper City. Great warning. Keep your blinds closed, folks, after dark. And then wait outside in a bush with a long broom and whack that thing out of the sky. Straight ahead, it's the story that Dave could not wait all day long. He's been begging to talk about what happened at the Jazz game last night.
Malik, here's the deal. We talked to the judges. Yep. It was after the buzzer. It was after.
Oh, no. Did he win the car? Next.
It's 11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. Utah's snowpack is at 130% above normal, and officials are sending water downstream now to make room for the runoff in reservoirs and prevent flooding. Jordan Clayton with the Utah Snow Survey says they shouldn't be trying to fill the reservoirs all the way to the top too quickly.
We also need to be safe and make sure we don't get those reservoirs to the point where they're too full.
Officials say flooding won't be as bad if the temperatures warm up gradually. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The government of Taiwan says at least 9 people died and 900 more were injured by an earthquake this morning. Much of the damage has been in the capital, Taipei. The White House says it's been in touch with officials on the island. The U.S. is ready to help with anything that's needed. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average now up on the day, 53 points. The NASDAQ up 84 right now. And our KSL weather looks like sunshine today and maybe a warmer temperature tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
So I've been telling you for months about my journey with Salt Lake City fat loss. I wanted to get healthy, lose some weight. It's been fantastic. A lot of clients will lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. I lost 57 in 60 days. It was incredible. They say you can lose up to a pound of fat a day, and that's exactly what I experienced. Now I'm in the maintenance phase. Now I got to keep it off. I've got to learn how to keep it off. So I learned how to lose it. Now I got to learn how to keep it off. Salt Lake City Fat Loss has this unique program to lose weight, get healthy, did it without surgery, injections, point counting, no exercising, and no prepackaged meals. If you're interested, slcfatloss.com is the website. You can schedule your free consultation. Just go to slcfatloss.com.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
That doesn't sound good.
Paper shredder's jammed, but I think I fixed it.
Oh, well, try shredding these $50 bills then.
Seems like it's working.
Better try another $400.
Stop. Instead of using money, use regular paper. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah! Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single Silver Unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount with 4 lines all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
Well, hello, it's me again. And like me, I'll bet you're ready for spring and a little green lawn again. I've got a tip. Don't spend a fortune hiring a lawn care company. Save some money and do it yourself. And here's how. Go to J&J Garden Center in Layton and purchase their simple, color-coded 5-step fertilizer system that covers up to 10,000 square feet and will rejuvenate your lawn for just $199.98. And nobody beats J&J's price. So for a lush, healthy green lawn, come and try J&J Garden Center's 5-step fertilizer system. I promise you won't regret it. Take the Layton Parkway exit, Main Street to Gentile, then west 2 miles. You've got to see it to believe it. You really do.
Country grown to your home, J&J Garden Center.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Crews are working to clear a crash downtown at Main Street and 800 South. Also one in Murray on Murray Holiday Road, 4700 South, 1600 East. Box Elder County has gone to the birds. Spring migration is here at Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge. See what visitors are chirping about with Box Elder County. For info, activities, and more, visit boxeldercounty.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunshine, 70 degrees today, tomorrow 73, but with some clouds building up. Much cooler Friday and Saturday with a storm moving in. Right now, 57 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Dave told me to say that the Jazz are terrible right now. They've lost 10 in a row. But let's set that aside for a moment and talk about the controversy on the court with apparently the Caitlin Clark of Utah that the Jazz should sign immediately, who's throwing 3-pointers up during a contest and keeps hitting the shots.
So you know I'm number one Jazz fan, right? I mean, I love the Jazz, grew up Jazz fan. They're objectively terrible. They're trying to lose. They are on purpose trying to lose, and they're doing a very, very good job at it. So trying to keep everybody excited and still showing up to the Jazz games, that's not an easy thing to do with a losing team. And it's not something that we've experienced much here in Utah. We always have a Jazz team that is very successful. So during the breaks or timeouts or halftime, they do a lot of work trying to get the fans involved, invested, excited as their team's getting blown out by 20 points. One of the best is when you give away something free. Like
this is why I go to games.
The $1 million shot.
Yeah, I don't watch the game. Sorry, guys. I want to see the goofy contest going on the court.
So when I know you're a big baseball gal. Uh-huh. So minor league baseball's infamous for this. They do silly little things in between.
I love all of it.
But when you're in the NBA, they give away serious stuff, big prizes, and it's winnable prizes. This contest is you have to hit 3 NBA 3-pointers in 30 seconds. Now you might think, that's how hard is that? Well, you're like, it's so far away. The NBA 3-point line is so far away.
Sounds like it's in the line is in the locker room. I mean,
it's so far. Yeah, that's a deep shot. So anyway, they pull somebody out of the crowd and they get to participate. And if they hit 3, you win a car.
Really?
Yeah, like straight up brand new car.
I was gonna say like a cool car, or is it
these are nice cars.
From the 70s? No. Okay.
No, this isn't Dave's used Ford Explorer from 2002, right? These are nice, brand new cars. So it's very exciting. So let me just walk you through.
Okay.
This is what happened. Okay, so they call Malik out of the crowd, and this is the Jazz kind of running the contest. It's about a minute and a half, and you got to listen to the play-by-play.
How do you feel right now?
I feel really good.
You're not nervous. You got 18,000 people watching you. A lot of pressure on your back.
I'm really nervous, but we'll see how it goes.
Let's see. Okay. Malik, here's the deal. 3 3-pointers in 30 seconds. You will take home a car, okay? If you don't, you can win it $600 or $100.
Okay.
100 for the first shot, 500 for the second. On your mark, Malik. Get set and go. Oh, here it is. Looking like Paul Millsap. I like the form, Malik. Yes, yes. Looks good. That's money right there. Yes, yes. Malik puts it in. 15 seconds. Here we go. Back iron. Nice shot. Here it is. Yo, yes. Malik, 10 seconds for the win. Puts it up. No. Malik. 4 seconds. Malik, last one. Good if it goes. No. Malik, here's the deal. We talked to the judges. Yep. It was after the buzzer. It was very blatant. It was after the buzzer. Malik, I love you. You're still taking home $600. Congratulations.
The booby pricing. You're still taking home 600. How horrible.
So what happens is he's shooting. You hear the announcer do the countdown, and
he's incredible.
It was, yeah. Anyway, now in the defense of the announcer, they put this up on the Jumbotron, and they have the 30 seconds queued up, and it's counting down on the Jumbotron. And Malik's putting up shot after shot after shot. He's missing. The countdown is coming down. It hits 0 on, it's clear. It's very clear. It hits 0 as he shoots that final shot. That final shot goes in. And then the buzzer goes off. So the clock and the buzzer weren't synced perfectly. So the crowd knows he clearly scored before the buzzer went off. But according to the unofficial, quote, timer, it looks like he made it after the shot.
Did he say something like, it's pretty clear you miss it didn't go in?
Yeah, he's like, it's conclusive.
Oh, no.
You definitely, you didn't hit it in their time.
So what happened?
Okay, the crowd starts booing.
Oh, no.
They are furious.
Oh, no.
They are so angry about this because this was so cool.
I bet.
Like the $600 is great, but he thought he won a brand new car.
No, $600 is nothing compared to a new car.
No.
Yeah.
And he was very gracious about it. He's like, cool. Oh man, I thought I made it. Well, okay, so here's the downside. Everybody's got their phones out. Everybody's recording this.
Yeah.
And it starts leaking out. It shows that, no, dude, you made it. You shot it before the buzzer went off. You should have won the car.
So now the crowd's getting suspicious.
Now they're feeling like he got robbed. That they stole the car, that they didn't want to pay up.
Poor Malik.
So at the very next timeout, they call him back out onto the court because of the controversy.
Malik, here's the deal. We're back here, and after further review from Ken Garf, you, my friend, are taking home a car! It's over! It's over! It's over!
Crowd goes crazy.
That's awesome.
Everybody's jacked up.
I'm glad Ken Garf did the review. That is awesome.
Yeah, it was probably a PR nightmare. Like you've got the entire 18,000 Jazz fans booing. They think they cheated him out of his car.
Guy
like,
running around the court hitting all the shots.
And I don't think anything shady was happening. I can totally see why they thought that time had expired. They were being gracious. Anyway, he walks away with a brand new car, and It was by far, Debbie, the most exciting thing that happened in last night's Jazz game. Like 100%. Nobody's talking about the Jazz game. They're talking about Malik winning a new car.
A new car and a new contract with the Utah Jazz.
He had pretty good form. He looked good.
Oh, wow. That is incredible.
It did take him 30 seconds to make 3.
But he made them all.
He made 3 out of probably 25 shots.
Oh,
but it was,
I see.
Yeah.
Well, but he made all that he needed to win the car.
He only needed to hit 3. It only matters
incredible.
if you win.
That's incredible. Hey, next, let's talk about actor Kevin Costner, shall we? He is building a new film studio in Utah. And we're going to ask Virginia Pierce of the Utah Film Commission all about it next. Like, I wonder if some of his major upcoming films will be filmed in the studio.
You're not taking the full measure of this, Mary. I know the man I met was on his way to kill everyone in that house. He might as well have been walking up to get the mail for all it bothered him.
You use that much this year?
Haven't had much need of it yet.
Do you think that's his regular voice, Dave, or do you think that's his acting voice?
That's probably 40 years of smoking voice.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Held over due to popular demand. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Save thousands on hot tubs and swim spas. It's a major manufacturer's liquidation of hundreds of in-stock spas. Utah State Fair Park. Hot tubs discounted 40 to 80% to the lowest possible price, starting at $29.99. Free professional delivery. Take possession tomorrow, next week, next month, or next season. The Hot Tub and Swim Spa Sale. Utah State Fair Park. Shop over a dozen models of swim spas from 11 feet to over 19 feet. Swim spas offer low-impact exercise, active family fun, unsurpassed relaxation, and installation in one day. The Hot Tub and Swim Spa Sale. Everything must go. Free parking, free admission. You can't afford to miss this. It's a major manufacturer's liquidation of hundreds of in-stock spas. Friday, noon to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Hot Tub and Swim Spa Sale. Utah State Fair Park. Visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Remember that first paycheck when you started working all those years ago? You looked at the net amount and thought, whoa, what happened here? Ah, the joy of taxes. It could be this way with your retirement accounts. You know how much you've saved, but if you haven't planned for Uncle Sam, you could come up short in retirement. With tax laws constantly changing, there's a lot you need to know to make sure you're not paying more than your fair share. Mike Stevens and the team at Capital Wealth Advisors can help you create a plan that shows you how taxes could affect you now and in the future. Set up your tax strategy session with Mike Stevens and Capital Wealth Advisors now. Call 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. Make sure you know how these changes could affect you so you can avoid some of those whoa moments in retirement. Call 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Chapbooks is a Provo-based photo book company that allows you to document your memories in physical form, and you can do it all from your cell phone. Chapbooks co-founder Vanessa Quigley joins us with more.
Did you know that printed photos can strengthen your family?
Working closely with 2 psychology professors here in Utah, Chatbooks surveyed over 30,000 families, and that's exactly what the research revealed. Reminiscing about everyday magical moments deepens connections and strengthens family bonds. Our mission at Chatbooks is to connect and strengthen families. 10 years ago, our family of 9 moved from Florida to Utah to find the talent and capital that we'd need to build a business focused on family memories. And we found everything and everyone we needed right here in Utah. Now, Chatbooks has a team of 150 people, and we've printed hundreds of millions of photos from millions of families all around the world. If you haven't already, download the Chatbooks app and our companion family photo sharing app called HeyFam and start chatbooking today. It's an easy and fun family memory system that will connect and strengthen your family, and I hope you'll give it a try.
From monthly photo book subscriptions to special occasion collections, Chatbooks has everything you need to create a collection of good memories that looks great on your shelf. Learn more at their website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Take KSL News Radio with you everywhere you go. It is so easy to do, totally free. Just download the KSL News Radio app. That's right, KSL News Radio has its very own app, and you can set your notifications, and when a story drops on the app, news story that you need to know about, we'll send you a notification. You click on it, and it takes you right to that story. So again, the KSL News Radio app, download it today.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, reservoir managers starting to send water downstream now to get ready for this year's abundant snowpack. Second, the United States says it's ready to help with anything that's needed after a massive earthquake in Taiwan. And third, we're hearing different stories now about the demolition of a historic church building in Salt Lake City. Right now, 57 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know Kevin Costner, Yellowstone?
Nothing we do is for today. Ranching is the only business where the goal is to break even. Survive another season.
And for quite a while, Yellowstone was filmed right here in Utah until it skedaddled to Montana. Is that where it went, Dave? Do you remember? Yeah. But Kevin Costner is investing in Utah in a big way. He's building a film studio here.
There's a few things Kevin Costner does. Kevin Costner does Westerns.
I know the man I met was on his way to kill everyone in that house. He might as well have been walking up to get the mail for all it bothered him.
You use that much this year?
Haven't had much need of it yet.
He does sports movies, and he does Westerns, and he does them better than anybody. I love the clip you just played is for his upcoming Western. It looks unbelievable. He's already won an Oscar for Dances with Wolves. Best Picture, Best Director. Mm-hmm. This one, Horizon, looks incredible.
You know he's also a bodyguard.
And Whitney will always love him.
That's right. Hi, Virginia.
Hi there.
So good to have you back on the show. The last time that we had you on the show a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about another Kevin Bacon, returning to Utah himself to Payson High School to celebrate, what is it, the 40th anniversary of Footloose or something crazy like that?
Yeah, I know. I think we can only work with movie stars named Kevin. That's our new role.
It's so true. That's what I felt. We were going to talk about Kevin Costner's new studio. It's going to be in St. George. We just ran out of time that day, so glad to have you back on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So what can you tell us? Where is this film studio going to be? Can you divulge that?
I can't. I don't know exactly where. Obviously in St. George. They've been working on it, the planning of it, for quite some time. I think there's some private investors in St. George and Washington County that were very interested in creating a space and saw some opportunity when this new rural film incentive was passed a couple of years ago, and just allowed more production to come into rural parts of the state. And then when Kevin was in that part of the state filming Horizon, he really fell in love with the area. And I think the two factors combined really meant that this had some legs. And so we're excited to have another studio in the state, another purpose-built studio. So we have one in Park City, the Utah Film Studio, and this would be the second.
Maybe you can hold our hand a little bit and explain what a studio does.
Well, it's such a great asset for us. The Park City, the Utah Film Studio has been a great calling card. It's a beautiful studio. That's what we hear from any productions that are coming in. Need that kind of space. We're used to working in these studios in LA that were built in the 50s, and so to have one that's so new and beautiful and also set in such a gorgeous area has really been a game changer for so many. And as you mentioned, Yellowstone did base their film series or their television series there for 3 years, and just had an amazing time. That's really when Kevin first started to look around at Utah, is when he was here filming Yellowstone. He pulled us aside and said, look, I have this personal project that I'd love to talk about. So we're just excited that it's finally happening.
It took him a really long time to follow Robert Redford's lead. I mean, but we're so glad that he finally did, because Utah does have some beautiful country. And we're talking to Virginia Pierce of the Utah Film Commission. She's live on the line with us talking about Kevin Costner, set to build what's touted as a $40 million film studio in the St. George area. So, Virginia, continue to paint a picture for me, if you will. I'm not too familiar with how these studios work. Do they build the studio there and then they set up the sets there? Or are they able to go out on location more easily if they're down in the southern Utah area and hit the Red Rock country? Is that what happens?
Right. So they always need what they call a base camp. So they need a place to put the offices. They need a place to park. They need, places to build the sets and put the costume department and the makeup department. And they certainly will film on location. And if Yellowstone is any indication, they based all of their offices and production, hub at the studio. But they also build sets if they're going to use a certain location over and over again. So in Yellowstone, it was, Kevin, his house, his character's house, his living room, his bedroom, they built all that on set, his office. And so then they can use that whenever they need, and they don't have to go back to location to film those scenes. It also means they have weather cover. So it just makes a little more efficient, effective way of shooting when you're continuing to go back to a certain location.
That's neat.
When will this be finished, or is it mostly finished? Where are we at on this?
That I'm not totally sure. I don't think it's mostly finished. I actually think they're just breaking ground. So
okay.
I think it's going to be, a little bit, but I think it'll be a great asset for them. St. George also has a really, it's a good location for film because it's close to Las Vegas. It's easy to get people in and out from LA. And they've really, I think, stepped up in terms of how they can attract film production. And I think this will just be another way to do that.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, Virginia Pierce with the Utah Film Commission. Is this something, will people be able to visit?
That's a good question. Probably not on a regular basis. I know, again, using the Utah Film Studio as an example, if they have a production in-house, it's hard to have visitors.
Right.
But I think they do try to do some, open house time so that people in the community can see what is there.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you for joining us as we talk about Kevin Costner's new studio that is being built down in southern Utah. Thanks, Virginia.
What's your favorite Costner movie?
Oh, my goodness. Well, you're just asking me,
See, I think
there's so many things I want to say.
I like him. I think you love him.
Oh, I love him. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I do. I'm leaning into love because he's building this awesome studio down in southern Utah, which is a gorgeous country down there.
Yeah, Field of Dreams.
I love that movie.
Is
I do like that.
One of my all-time favorite movies. Mm-hmm. Just fantastic.
That's the one when they come out of the corn.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I do like that.
The ghosts are playing baseball.
What's the one that Robert Redford was in? The baseball movie? Natural.
The Natural, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Let me tell you my favorite, and this is a little bit of a hidden gem for a Western. is called Open Range with Robert Duvall, and Costner is fantastic. One of the best gunfights I've ever seen at the end of the Western. It is awesome. I love Open Range.
So Open Range, Field of Dreams.
Yeah, Field of Dreams for my sports movie, for my Western. I love Open Range for Kevin Costner. I originally cut my teeth on Costner with Silverado.
Yeah.
Silverado was great.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I did see him in The Bodyguard. I did watch that movie. I watched that movie several times. I got to tell you, I love Yellowstone.
Yellowstone's great.
I became addicted. That is the first television show that I've been addicted to since.
a good one.
Okay, Desperate Housewives. And before that, it was Dallas. So it tells you it takes a lot to get me addicted to a television series. And,
Beth Dutton is the devil, right?
She's amazing.
She's my favorite character. She's the devil.
Maria Chaleos up next. She's got more details on what the city is calling an illegal demolition of the Fifth Ward Meeting House. She's going to share those with you straight ahead.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News.